Look, Marie Antoinette with a sore throat.
Hey, that's pretty funny.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 1 of the Cheap Seat Critics Podcast. With me today, we always have...
I am a geeky writer, as always.
I'm Chris Maroon.
I'm a character called Sinister Boy.
And I'm Springs.
Season 3, he finally got it.
Yes, I've been practicing. And today we'll be going over The Greatest Showman.
And who is The Greatest Showman? Is it you? Is it me? Is it they? Is it she? No, it is PT Barnum.
Oh, I thought it was Hugh Jack. PT Barnum. Yeah.
Always still in the spotlight. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, I wrote him down as Hugh in my notes.
So did I.
Let me just say, look up a picture right now. Everybody, stop what you're doing. Stop watching this. Look up on your laptop or your phone or whatever. Look up a picture of PT Barnum, and then look up a photo of Hugh Jackman, and put them side by side, and you'll be shocked to find they don't look exactly alike.
Identical twins.
I mean,
you know what? I looked it up, and you're right.
The good news is, for those of you on YouTube, there's already an image of him up.
Yeah, like his freaking, he's got that drinker's nose.
Drinker's nose.
Yeah, cauliflower nose. He's got a big bulbous nose.
Take what I got from his face.
He's got it. Anyways, Springs, you got some factoids, some tidbits,
I do.
Some history, maybe.
I kind of do, Sinister. Normally we kind of go with our background of, what our history with something is, and for this it would just kind of be history of musicals, but that could be very boring or lengthy, so we're just going to do some facts and then jump into it.
All right.
So, The Greatest Showman, its initial release date for the U.S. was December 20th, 2007.
Okay, there you go.
Keeping you on your toes there. Its box office it made worldwide was $434.9 million, whereas 174.3 million of that was just the U.S. and Canada, and the film's budget was $84 million.
Okay, well, they made a good profit.
Yeah, not bad.
And I have two facts. By April 2018, the film was still in theaters, and 20th Century Fox had to start pulling it from theaters to meet contractual agreements for it to hit its DVD release date. It finally left theaters in July 2018, having an 8-month theatrical run.
Wow, that's actually
Not bad at all.
that's quite a long run.
Yeah.
Though I think Top Gun is
going to be
Yeah.
chasing that down.
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick is chasing that one down as we speak. I have no idea how long that movie's been in theaters, but that's the longest one I'm aware of. Aware of.
It's weird though they had such a long run. I mean, it made a lot of money, but I'm just like, it's weird that it wasn't like a $1 billion movie or something.
It's weird that I never heard about it
That's
until
true.
now.
Oh wow,
You never
that
heard
is
this
weird.
movie before?
Nope.
We can't get Springs to freaking shut up about this movie. He talks about it all the time. He's like,
God, I love musicals.
I know it's all over my walls and T-shirts and
It's got his
memorabilia.
tattoos.
I know it's the memorabilia is starting to replace his Batman stuff.
And second fact is the actress Rebecca Ferguson, who played Jenny Lynn in the film. Her singing was actually dubbed by American singer Lauren Allred.
Yeah. It's
God damn it!
It's
I was really hoping Lady Atreides was actually the one singing, but I figured that she was being dubbed over. Sadly,
I believe it was for the reason because it stated Jenny Lind is like the most beautiful singer, the Swedish songbird, Nightingale, something like that.
And Rebecca Ferguson is, let's just be polite and say not that.
She didn't think her could meet.
I mean,
a talented actress, but yes.
So those are the facts I have.
I remember back in my day, you had to be a triple threat to make it on the stage.
Well, I guess to stack up on that fact, she also, the real singer, performed on Britain's Got Talent. So, there you go.
I thought you were gonna say Jenny Lynn performed on America's Got
Yes.
Talent. I was like, I don't think that happened.
That would have been funny, but yes.
I think it's funny that Crimson knew that off the top of his head and didn't have to look it up.
I looked it up after I watched it.
Oh, I
I
thought.
was giving
Why couldn't you just have like a photographic memory for every America's Got Talent contestant ever performed?
He's
Why
got too
couldn't
much
you just
person of
lie?
interest up there, that's why.
It's,
Yes. Yeah.
That's
too
not
many
true.
person of interest in every B-list actor in any sitcom or TV show.
One day, Crimson, you and I will do a video about Quantico.
One day.
One day.
You two, it'll be all four of us.
What? No, it'll just be them.
I don't want to put anyone else through that show. I already suffered through it.
We'll all be there, but only 2 people really be into it. Let's just put it
Nah,
that
that's
way.
true.
It could be
Well-
a special where 2 of us have, and see how the other 2
All
are
right.
shocked
Well,
by the trash.
now we're just going off a tangent of
Yeah.
ideas and everything. This
Yeah.
doesn't sound like the greatest
Yeah,
show.
bring us back,
Sounds
Spring.
pretty
Sorry.
Yeah, before we begin, does anyone have any words they'd like to share before jumping into the film?
Beach ball, rum.
Well, yeah. Some schnapps would be good. Musicals aren't my go-to. So this is an interesting experience, I guess, for me as a writer because, while the character building is not typically done in dialogue and scenes, it's done with singing. So it's a little more difficult to find, I guess, a coherent story in that way. But being that musicals aren't my thing, I think this was a good choice for the podcast. So
I'll go up next.
Oh, you go, William.
I'm with Ryder, where I am not into musicals. I can probably stretch it even further and say I don't like them. But this one was decent. And we'll hear more of my thoughts throughout the podcast. Shocker.
Whoa.
Nice.
We're not going to do that.
Besides beach ball and rum.
I mean, listen, if you're going to, throw me a softball, you got to, be prepared for me to strike it out. But anyways, I'm known the music guy, but I'm not a huge musical fan. I really only like 2, and that's Rocky Horror Picture Show and Little Shop of Horrors, which I guess is pretty telling of my taste. But I'm going to probably delve into it a little bit later and say I wasn't really a fan of the music in this one. Mainly because I have an issue. Okay, I like seeing the thing I like about musicals is when they're performed live, because you actually have people are doing their part to really perform it very, very well, because it's very, very difficult. And so when it's done in a movie format, it's a little bit lower form for me, because it's kind of you can use studio trickery and all that kind of stuff to kind of make it sound better, which is not going to say that's bad, but it makes me enjoy it a little bit less, because I'm like, okay, well, I can't really tell if there's an actual performance happening here that's, a difficult. So
Not
That's
as
my-
authentic.
yeah, not as authentic, but like I said, that's not really that's not really a good criticism. That's just, personal thing for me. But yeah, we'll go into that later on. But yeah, that's my summary thoughts.
Okay. I guess I'll do a little wrap up of myself. Being a Disney boy and growing up with Disney films, I've kind of been around musical numbers for a long time. I think some musicals are very well done, and I think some other musicals are not. And this film for me kind of fit in the range of very pretty good.
Can you give
I
an
will-
example of a very good and a not so good musical?
Sure. Very good. I like Beauty and the Beast. That counts. I like
The
Beauty and
Emma
the Beast.
Watson one?
Both cartoon and Emma Watson, they're very similar. But I guess for live action sake, we'll go with the live action one. And a really bad one I don't like is Into the Woods.
I like the
And I don't
stage version
mean
of that.
stage. Yeah, I mean the movie.
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
going for.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah.
And with that, we shall dive into The Greatest Showman with the very start, which is the old classic looking 20th century logo.
I like that.
Which then goes into the opening number, The Greatest Show.
Yeah.
I really wish they would have kept the old 20th century logo throughout. That would have been like that.
I did like the introduction to the beat with like the tapping of the cane. It was nice.
Mm.
I was still lost for most of the first song, but I did think the beginning of it was okay. So
Yeah, I think something musically they did well throughout this is the beat to songs. There are songs I don't like in this, but the beats in them are pretty good because they usually match up with things people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the beginning, it was his cane, or the footsteps on the bleachers, or the horse hooves on the ground.
Yeah, the horse hooves.
It gave me Knight's Tale doing like We Were Rocking vibes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I liked that beginning bit, and I liked that song up until the point where it got all happy and cheery. I like the whole chanting beginning part.
So as it turns out, Crimson just doesn't like happiness.
I liked it before
you
started.
The mysterious, the dark, mysterious part.
I like the chanting and the beat.
Yeah, it was a very good start to the song. I think once we went into like the center of the circus and the animals were introduced, like it became like a huge party crowd
those were
thing.
Animals?
Yeah,
I thought those were abominations.
Yeah, CG just barely above the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with Crimson on that one. I like the first half of the song. I think once he was at center stage with everyone and everything was going on around them, I thought I got lost as an audience member because I wasn't sure what the message was conveying to me until the song was ending, essentially.
Did you want to go to a circus? That's what it was trying to tell you.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got lost with it.
No.
I got it. It was like, you're here to witness an exciting show. And that's even
the greatest show
on audio
on
balance. His little whisper in the beginning of the song, I could not hear.
Yeah, there's some audio balancing issues throughout the whole of this movie. I had to put on subtitles at some point, so unfortunately that was just a common factor.
I was going to do subtitles, but I didn't want to be looking at like words and stuff and not like seeing like the cinematography and stuff because I would get distracted. But it was only a couple of areas I think where that was a big problem. I think for the most part they kept it balanced, but yeah, there was a couple parts where it was really off.
Definitely a nitpick. Because it's not like it doesn't hurt the film. It's just noticeable.
It's not that much of a nitpick because it's a musical, so really you kind of need to have audio balancing.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything that you need to get right, it is audio. So it's just finding some spots where they could have done it a bit better it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Especially for a musical.
Yeah.
Especially
where audio is kind of more of a focus.
Yeah.
This was probably the only song I really had a good amount of enjoyment with. One of them.
Really? All right.
I got a question regarding the songs in this for you guys. How's the enunciation for you? Because usually for me in musicals, it's a mixed bag of you can understand what they're singing. So I went into this expecting not to understand anything. So I had subtitles on, which I never do. So I was curious if you guys...
Are you trying to touch on the preacher and the puppet part?
No.
Okay. Because that happens in this song, in The Greatest Show.
Do you mean like people
Just
having
a general
accents?
question.
Do you mean like people having accents when they sing or something, or?
Well,
I don't know
like songs could be fast and they run through words and you can't understand them, or the instrumentals can be too loud.
He's talking about how well you can understand the words that are coming out.
Yeah,
the lyrics.
I thought they did a good job. I think they actually might have done a little bit too good of a job making every word, because it kind of, I think and sometimes it sort of messed up the feeling of the emotion. If that makes any sense. I think sometimes they like. I'll say this. I think sometimes it was a little bit too polished, and when it probably could have been a little bit more loose, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like the some of like the circus songs or whatever, where it kind of would have been nice if they had been a little bit more rowdier, kind of that sort of environmental thing. Because sometimes it just felt like too much of a. I don't know. I had that, like I said earlier, when we were talking about Halo pilot. I liked how it was really kind of dingy in areas, and you could kind of get an idea of like the setting. And I did get a little bit of that in this, but like most of the time, it just felt like an idealized version of what that was probably like, and it kind of took me out a little bit. So with like the singing and everything being on point all the time, which I'm not saying I want them to sing badly to fit the thing. That's not what I mean. But like, I felt like a loss of character there, where it was like, okay, this is probably a little bit too. This doesn't really fit, if that makes any sense.
Kind of like, I guess, the bar song towards the end, where it was supposed to be bad and then happy, but it just felt happy the whole time.
Kind of sort of like well, that, and then just like. I don't know. I kind of would have liked it if it was a little bit more. I can't explain it. Like it's just like a thing
organic?
That I have where it was a little bit too. I don't know. Like
clean.
It didn't feel very human. I guess that's what I'm trying to. It seemed very sort of artificial, which is again, like I'm going to say, that's kind of what this is going for. So I can't knock it. I think too much. Because I don't think they were, trying to get what I wanted out of it. But I think it could have been a little bit more, like down to earth, a little bit more, and kind of. I know it doesn't really help that I can't really explain what I want, but it's like a very,
Thus is art.
Yeah, thus is art. Art and all the glitters. But yeah, so I think that was my problem with a lot of the music in this, is where it just kind of. It didn't feel like, and I know like the point of it was it's supposed to be, oh wow, it's like new music in like 1845 or whatever, and it's kind of like, that's fine, but it's just not what I would normally want in some, but it was after, you know what, this came out after Hamilton, so it all made very, very much sense, or it all made a lot of sense to me, like why it sounded and looked like this, so.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm kind of half and half on the music, because my favorite songs were the ones that I could actually understand, and I got a 50-50 vibe. I felt I needed lyrics, I needed subtitles for about half the songs, and there were half that I felt I didn't need them, and I think it's a lot of it can fall into the category of a lot of the music and tempo of the songs sound very similar, so they all sort of blend together. So there wasn't like enough difference in the music itself for me to kind of pick up distinctive. They just kind of, it felt like they all flowed together. And I guess my that's what I'm saying. My favorite songs from this were very clearly distinct, and I could also understand the lyrics.
Yeah, the ones like I said, I think the ones I liked most about this, because I can agree with you on that, are the ones that stuck out and were different than the other ones. Because a lot of the music in this just sounded like newer top 40-ish kind of. Not that that's a bad thing, but
that was the second thing I wrote down in my notes was this was supposed to be like 1870s roughly, and I was kind of taken away immediately that it was modern music. I thought this was going to be of the time music. Do you guys think that would have been better? Or?
I think that would have been worse.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think I care too much about that. If you are going to do modern music in, say, in an 1800s setting, you just have to commit to it, and I think, I like the idea of it, but I think you don't have to necessarily do that in order for it to be good. Like I said, I guess my main issue is the songs didn't feel unique enough from one another most of the time, which is where I have an issue.
I don't think I have an issue so much with it being like a modern sound so much, although that's not, you know, my fondest sound for music. But I think the problem is just that it just all felt, or you know, it mostly all felt sort of like all the same, and it made it kind of it made them feel a little bit less special, and a little bit like the emotional conveying wasn't really very important, you know, because I think there was only like a couple of, you know, scenarios or songs that felt both the scene and, you know, the characters singing it, and then most of the rest of them just kind of, you know, it was like a grab bag of the same sort of stuff, and it didn't really feel like it meant anything.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though, I would have liked them either doing like using like 19th century instrumentation and playing newer songs. That, or, you know, like playing like modern songs maybe, or, you know, because I have seen that done in a couple other scenarios. That might have been interesting. I don't think it probably would have been as big a hit because of that, but, you know, that's sort of the gamble you take. But
what about you?
That's I don't know really how to go about that. Just about
my initial question was about the whole enunciation through the songs. And how
I think if this was my first time going through, I'd agree with you that some things were. That's why I brought up the Preacher and the Puppet, because first time I watched this, I had no clue what the heck he was saying. It was kind of a ramble. But since I've seen this quite a good amount of times, I know all the lyrics to the songs pretty much. So I think that's harder for me to answer now. But at the time of first viewing, because this is the first viewing for all three of you.
Yeah.
I think I'd agree that the pronunciation and enunciation. Thank you. On what is being said could be could be done a little better, but I don't think that goes for every song. So I'm with Ryder where some do and some don't. And not necessarily what Sinister said where they all kind of sound the same. They all sound modern, yes, but I don't think they all go sound the same in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And with that, we go on to what I believe is the first of very cool transitions.
Yeah, there were like 3 cool transitions in this movie.
Just 3.
That goes into the early stages of PT meeting Charity, and Charity's dad.
Yeah, who's just the most wonderful dad in the world.
Yeah.
But clearly, he's a really good person. No, wait, I'm thinking about somebody else.
I mean, they did pretty much get, you know, high society snob, you know, guys correcting that.
I mean, I think they nailed his characterization really quickly. So
he's only in like 3 scenes for like maybe a minute each, and you instantly dislike him, which is the whole point. So
yeah.
Thanks for being honest.
Yeah, that's being honest.
Instantly.
I have in my notes. It says there will be no laughing daughters in my household, boy.
Well, not if they mess up their dresses that cost like $5, which was a lot of money in 1845. Yeah.
$60.
Yeah.
Also, this kid thinks he's so funny sipping a piece of paper.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know what was that him trying to be like he bit the cup or something. I don't know what he was trying to go with the cloth thing.
It was, you had to be there in 1845. Okay.
You're right. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. He had a tea leaf.
Humor was really simple back in the day. It just, you know.
It was. They didn't have entertainment like The Greatest Showman around.
No, that's why you had to become the Greatest Showman.
I guess I have this down in my notes. I just want to ask you all because PT's Burnham and his dad, they're tailors, right? Like
they're tailors.
Okay.
Well, his dad's a tailor. He's not technically, I guess,
Yeah.
a tailor.
He's the tailor boy.
The Taylor's boy.
A tailor's boy, not the tailor boy. But yeah, so his dad's a tailor. But it's kind of weird though because that's well, I don't know if that was like the right fabric because I thought they were like I thought he was showing him like carpet stuff or or like drapes, not like
You know what? That's a great point.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I was confused. I didn't.
Barnum drops a bunch of them at some point, and they're all very colorful.
Yeah.
But he was just doing a suit. But I guess that is later.
Yeah.
So I guess they could be doing something else.
But he is I get but yeah, the charity's dad does call like his dad's a tailor.
I guess he
That
could
is
be the
technically
tailor
what
for
it
like a fabric company.
No, tailoring is specifically clothes, I believe. I don't think you can I think it's different.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't think. Yeah, I think he's just got all these fabrics.
Yeah, first tailor, a person whose occupation is making fitted clothes such as suits, pants, and jackets to fit individual customers.
Yeah, I assumed he was either tailoring a new suit or a dress. I assumed it was one of those. But,
Yeah, I guess that.
Yeah,
could-
dress
if
for
it
the
was-
dad.
well, dress for the daughter.
Later to excuse the colorful ones.
I mean, that's the other thing. Like, if it was, I don't. If you have like really rich customers, why are they like destitute?
Yeah,
The tailors?
Yeah,
yeah. Tailors are typically
Well, you
paid
were rich
really
back
well.
because you were a penny pincher.
I guess, but like he ends up like on the street at the end. So obviously there was. I mean, granted, I know savings isn't probably on everybody's mind at the time, but still.
Yeah, I did think the road to
That's a
destitution
nitpick,
the
but yeah.
the road to destitution is a bit quick in terms of writing. I know we're supposed to interpret it as because his spoiler alert, good dad, his father
Yeah.
is, and he passes away like all good dads do in storytelling.
Yeah, obviously.
And I guess we're supposed to interpret that he didn't continue the tailoring job or he couldn't find help to continue the tailoring job.
Mm.
But yeah, I did think the road to destitution was a little quick, considering tailors are typically they get paid really well from their rich patrons because they
Yeah,
make their
'cause
fucking clothes.
Yeah. And they're the only
I'm
people that generally
fine
make fitted clothing.
With how
I mean,
fast the destitution was, because this intro scene was fast.
Yeah,
it was very zippy, scene to scene to scene.
Well, we gotta
I'll-
get away from this kid.
Yeah, I'll throw it out there that Barnum's a terrible thief. Holy cow! He
Oh.
could have
Well,
just
no,
snuck
no,
it, but
no,
no, he
that
had to
guy.
grab it and dash immediately.
No, that bread guy teleported right behind him. He was there. How did he do that?
Yeah,
Well, that just shows that Barnum stole from him before and takes the same route. He's
Yeah,
just
I guess that's
stupid.
true. Yeah.
either or, yeah.
I'm not like I said. That's a little bit of a nitpick.
It
More
is.
than anything. But I found it strange how fast that
Yeah,
that road was.
we did
but,
did skip over the children musical number.
Well,
okay.
that's where I was going to. Yeah, the next song, "Million Dreams," for that part, which is essentially the early stages of PT and Charity.
I like Charity's dress. I like that color.
It looks very like Wendy from Peter Pan.
Yeah, or like Alice in Wonderland kind of.
Yeah.
Which made me also. I just want to say I feel like this movie bit a lot out of Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Just gonna say.
Oh, you
Not
think it
really.
does?
Not
Oh,
really,
okay.
no. But
Gotcha.
there wouldn't be The Greatest Showman if there wasn't Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Okay. It's a connection.
Good.
Okay, I was gonna say there's a part in A Million Dreams when they're in this big broken down manor, and PT uses a lamp to illuminate a desk lamp to make a shadow on a wall
Mhm.
that looks like a lion.
Mhm.
I can't tell if that's a fake silhouette to look like a lion or if the desk lamp actually makes the silhouette of a lion.
I'm gonna go with fake, just because it'd be easier.
It
But
would.
it could have been real. Because the sculpture would have to be accurate, in this case, the lamp. But also where the kid puts the lamp has to be right,
Yeah.
too. So it'd have to take a lot of shots, or they just did it in post.
Plus, with all the CGI that's already in this movie, I doubt they would have been sweating over making sure that part was practically done. I don't know. Plus, that would be the easiest one to get away with without it looking corny.
I'd have to look at it again to see.
Oh, you can bring it up right now.
I could, but I won't.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say is the start of this song, Barnum is actually
Don't worry,
singing.
I did the same thing. Crimson in my notes.
Yeah. So, is he really singing to her in this, or is
Yeah.
it just
That's always
spontaneous
been
musical talk?
That's
I
always
can't
been
tell
like a-
during several songs.
Because
that's always been like a thing that I'm always curious about in a musical, where I can't tell if they're supposed to actually be singing like in the scene or if it's just for the audience.
Because it shows him on the beach singing, but the abandoned house he's not singing. So did he sing on the beach, and then it just carried through the flashbacks?
I would agree, but there is a frame of him like singing one of the higher notes in the mansion, or he's just screaming, one of the two. But
I wish they were consistent.
Yeah,
I wish we could get some on-set audio.
Yeah, I do. I do. Crimson, you gave me a couple of screenshots here. Did you want to explain?
Yes. One of the bits while they were breaking into the house was Barnum sticking sticking out his arm through Ivy, and it immediately reminded me of the Secret Garden. And it was a pretty close parallel. I sent an image of the Secret Garden as well.
Yeah, I pulled up both.
It's interesting. I wonder if that was intentional or not, because both convey like discovery and excitement of the unknown outside and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting parallel. Don't know if it was intentional or not.
I think it might be an intentional parallel, just purely because of the way PT Barnum is. Like, he is Charity's kind of, I guess, invitation to the rest of the world almost, because she lives a very, I'm gonna go with high class, sheltered life.
Well, she's in, I believe they said, what, finishing school?
Yeah.
She's going to finishing school.
Yeah, she's going to be in.
Yeah, I don't think that exists anymore, except like in Europe.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's a thing anymore. Yeah, I don't know.
Alright.
No, I don't remember.
Crimson, you said earlier that there was like only 3 transitions to you that stood out. There was some in.
I wrote down some.
There was some in this song that I noted that I liked.
Well,
Go on then.
Yeah, there's one where PT puts the letter in the mail delivery's bag, and someone walks by, and while someone walks by, it goes to probably a different mail carrier giving the letter to Charity.
Yeah.
And then when Charity gets the letter, she twirls to like go back inside the building, but then sits down, which I think is another nice. I like transitions that show movement, either movement from a character or movement from a camera work. And then as soon as she sits down, she looks out the window, and the window transitions to PT. So Crimson, as you said earlier, it's very, very quick and snappy. But that was like 3 transitions all in one go.
I didn't know Hideo Kojima worked on this. That's awesome.
Yeah, I noticed those. I just thought they were pretty standard transitions. They're ones that really stood out to me, like the bar to the circus and the ballet.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
The house.
Oh, the ballet one, yeah.
The ones that
really stood out are the ones I wrote down.
Yeah.
It's just those three stood out to me because they were just back to back to back.
Back to back to back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Make it real snippy. Which is also nice. I like that they did that and then just didn't, cut. It felt very fluid.
Well, the guy who directed this he's been like a visual effects artist for like most of his career, so I can see why he probably wanted an emphasis on that.
I believe this is his first.
This is his directorial debut. Yeah.
Not bad for a first.
No.
Well, since this was coming up on 5 years ago, has he done anything else since this?
No.
He did a movie about Pink.
Yeah, he did a documentary, a live documentary. That was.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, he's going. I think maybe he's going the Martin Scorsese route. He's just going to do documentaries now.
Didn't capitalize on this.
Yeah, and then something else I liked that kind of parallels way later in the movie is now that the kid's gone and we got Hugh Jackman in the picture. When he's walking up to Charity's parents' house, Charity's looking out the window, and it indicates just kind of PT, who's the focus point.
Mm-hmm.
And later, much later in the movie, it does pretty much the same exact shot, but with his daughters.
Yes, I also noticed that one.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. She'll come back.
Just the lawyer showing the dad being a doo-doo head.
Yeah.
I mean, can you blame him? How would you feel if your daughter was like going off with some guy who didn't?
Or some tailor's boy.
You know,
Well, he doesn't have
railroad man now.
He doesn't have much screen, but at least in the scene, it can say that he respects his daughter's choices. He doesn't approve of the guy. He informs the guy how he feels about things. He's very to the point, but it's not like he's not telling Charity like, no, you can't go.
I'm sure he was, though. I mean, also, I don't really see this guy being like, yeah, it's your choice, do whatever you want kind of thing. It seems more like,
There's a level of, I think, he definitely tried to talk her out of it. He just doesn't want to control her. Or like,
because if you keep somebody apart or whatever from the other person, that just makes them want them more. So
Also, what age are they supposed to be right now?
They're like 35.
I'm assuming we jumped at least 20 years. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think that was.
They're supposed to be in their 20s. They're definitely supposed to be in their 20s, but Hugh Jackman and Michelle Williams are like in their 40s and 50s. So
yeah, there was some age down CGI, right? Like I thought I pretty saw that.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure at least in this scene where he shows up to pick her up, I do think they did some de-aging for.
They
Hugh.
might. That wasn't a huge thing yet, though. So that would have, or that was, So I'm sure it was a little bit of that, and then probably just makeup, some practical stuff. But they definitely did some work. But,
and then another scene I want to bring up that remind me of something, and I don't think we have that screenshot, but when they first get to like the city, before they look into the dinner, the restaurant to see a couple having dinner, the city look can clearly tell that it's a staged and painted background. But for the time era and the painted background of the building and everything, it just reminded me very much of Mary Poppins, with all the painting backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Poppins,
so I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, I got the similar thing when they were dancing on the rooftop. That's when I got the painted background in full. Like I could see the cracks in the paint wall pretty much.
Just how driven I was. I didn't notice any painted background.
Oh.
Maybe I was looking at my notes or writing my notes down. Are you talking about like the moon and stuff? The moon didn't look painted.
The moon.
Saying the night sky in general.
When the moon, I don't know if the moon was painted, but I know the cityscape was. There's definitely a shot of them when they're kind of running, like away from the corner after she almost committed suicide. There is a.
That is a funny scene. That is a very interesting scene.
There's definitely a shot where you can tell that the cityscape is painted. I don't know if the moon was, but we'll definitely say the cityscape was.
I liked how when we got adult Barnum, the vocals changed in the song to match as well. Because it was the kid singing and then him as an adult.
No, it
singing.
should have been the kid singing as the.
If the kid was singing the whole time, that would be very weird.
I would have liked that more.
Just a little bit, but
I mean, I don't think it would have been that strange. But I like that.
I would have loved to hear a kid's voice come out of Hugh Jackman. That would have been funny.
Well, as an adult, was there any of him visibly singing? I don't recall.
Yeah.
As an adult, yeah.
When they were dancing on the roof, right?
Probably. I like the
Probably.
dancing through the steam. At
I
the
don't like the
station.
dancing.
Oh, with the trains.
Yeah.
They would have been like.
I kind of like how it's not practical at all, but there's like magic of the two of them, like in this honeymoon,
the
I guess,
curtains.
phase.
yeah.
Yeah, with the sheets on the roof moving with them dancing in the wind, which I thought was kind of cool. And then another cool transition of them turning into the apartment.
That
With
was
the-
the three I wrote down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the sheet and the curtain
Okay.
matching.
Yes.
We've done two that you've liked so far. Is the third one going to be the next scene, or is it going to be later on? We've
Later.
already done two of the three.
Yeah. Deal with it. I didn't control this movie.
I did like that. Yeah, the transitions also stuck out to me in this scene. I also like the kind of slow zoom out, and we realize that she's pregnant, Charity, as well.
Preggers.
So it kind of lets us know the time. Like we're more certain of the time skip. You know.
Yeah.
The next one anyway.
And then that's the end of A Million Dreams. To go on
Whoa.
to
Can't
PT
believe-
in his office job, desk job, where it's shown that he's left-handed.
What does he do? I don't really understand his job.
Something.
Wow,
Files.
thanks. I'm glad I
Paperwork.
asked that question.
I have
Yeah,
to.
I didn't know.
I'd have to rewatch the scene to tell you. As
'Cause when
far
I-
as
'cause
far as I can
I-
tell, they were like a.
Were they just an ad agency?
No, they're trains, but like I don't know what they. I'm trying. I'm honestly not like nitpicking. I'm just curious if anybody else could figure out what the heck he was doing. Because when I heard when they were like, there's a whole Barker or whatever talking about join the railroad, 3 square meals a day, plenty of pay, whatever. I thought he was going to be like working on like the railroad, and then I see him in the office. So I'm like, maybe he got like a raise
Oh.
or like a.
I assumed-
I don't.
That was
I don't
just
think-
him taking the train to go to
Yeah,
Charity.
I don't think those jobs are connected at all.
I still think it's a transportation company, because they talk about how their fleet is now at the bottom of the sea.
Okay, yeah, that's right. It wasn't a.
So I still think it could be
Shipping,
connected to the
yeah.
trains company. Like the company just also happens to have a transportation fleet as well, a cargo fleet to go with their the trains. But that's pretty much all I could think of off the top of my head. I'd have to rewatch the scene again.
Well, I mean, if it was just like a train to get to Charity, I mean, that's a long. Wow, that must have been like a really long. No, that must have been a long trip because he was like 30 by the time he saw her again. So taking
I mean,
Where's that movie?
I mean, to kind of go to kind of crack a joke about one of the later scenes. I mean, he runs back onto a train to go get Charity again, and I'm surprised he didn't age another 20 years.
That's true.
Continuity errors.
Yeah, more aging Hugh Jackman.
There was a lot of travel in this that should have aged him. Gone from the U.S. to Europe back then, that would have taken a while.
I mean,
That was-
that's. I mean,
Well, that was just a few
picture of
months. They're
him- yeah,
by boat, so that's not too
Like-
bad. But
yeah.
Well, he went back and forth a lot. He went on tour and stuff.
oh, that's
The only
true.
one-
There was a
Yeah.
good deal of
Oh.
travel. in
I
this.
mean, they condensed a lot of stuff. I mean,
Brings up
I
a
guess-
shot when he's in the office job that I really like for symbolism of the office across the road and the graveyard.
God, that looked ugly.
It
Look,
is
God.
that looked
it, the
ugly.
shot absolutely looks ugly, but I do like the symbolism.
I
I think every window on that building was green screened.
Absolutely.
That was terrible. Looking.
there was very little practical stuff in this, except for like the sets. I like the symbolism, but yeah, that was not good.
I guess before we get too far past it, the Million
Okay.
Dreams song or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that song?
No, not into it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty meh overall.
It's
one of those ones that I agree with writer and sister about where it kind of blends with some other songs in this. To me,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I didn't particularly like the song that much, and the reason is because like I can see what the visuals are showing me is their love story, but you also have to sing to me the character development of their love story. So I didn't really get much of that in the song. I understand that they're living the dream essentially. It's pretty much the obvious
One
point
of a million.
Yeah,
things.
that's pretty much the theme of the song. But I wanted this song needed to be very distinct from the others. This song needed to be very impactful because their relationship is kind of integral to PT Barnum. So I would classify the song as fine, but it needed to be better in order to better support the rest of the film or the musical.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with the song. It's just, I don't know. It's just something where it's like, I feel it's something where I feel like I've seen this before, and so it's just kind of, it's just okay.
The music felt very generic, which is why
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess why I think it hurts the song overall. As I said, I'm labeling it as fine. It needed to be stronger.
It just seemed like, okay, well, we have to have a song with two young kids in love or what, and it has to be a duet kind of thing or something, and we have to fill that in. Didn't feel like they were trying to do something new with it. It was just like, okay, well, we have to have a scene like this, and so let's put it in.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's nothing really bad about it other than it's just generic. It's not, but it's not done badly. It's okay.
Frank, so you said you've memorized every song in this, so I assume you'd like it. What are your thoughts?
It's. I agree with Ryder. It's fine. It's middle ground to me.
Fine.
It is.
Okay.
I'm trying not my best to touch on the music because that's kind of a bonus thing that I'll bring up for all of us at the end.
Okay.
It was all done by a cat.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a bit vague with the musical number scenes.
Okay.
But what happens in them?
It was done by a freaking
a child of Hugh Jackman.
Okay, just for reference, so I know what to talk about going forward, Springs. We're a lot of talk about the visuals that are happening during the sequence, but the music itself you want to save towards the end.
Oh no! I'm feel free to
stuff
discuss. Yeah, I have stuff. Feel free to discuss whatever. Don't feel restricted.
Okay, got it.
It's just in my responses might be a little different because I know what's coming ahead.
Yeah, it's all done by Michael Giacchino or whatever.
That's funny. It's real funny. So it's not.
How could you get that wrong?
Yeah.
No, this movie is not Michael Giacchino. I feel like we have to talk about that in every single episode we do now.
Yeah, because we watched like 4 movies that had Giacchino in it.
Yeah.
So the office goes to the office being shut down. Barnum losing his job, and he goes to talk to Charity about it, and has a little evening with his wife and children.
Is Charity the most supportive wife in television?
Close.
Movies?
She's pretty close. Yeah.
She goes through lots of ups and downs with Barnum.
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 I'm trying to. It's definitely been other. Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things she says, at least in this part, I don't actually have the quote for quote, shocking, but when Barnum says, I wish, I wanted to give you the magic, and the magic's like gone, and Charity goes, what do you call those? And pointing over to his daughters.
Because they were brought by a stork.
Well, it's like what Wanda said.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The magic of being a mother. Right?
Purity and Wanda are
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, one's a genocidal maniac. The other is a good person.
A loving mother.
Just a mother.
Um, yeah, I do like the rooftop scene. I like the colorful playing with the lights. I thought it was very small, very humble scene that I think did a lot to build the family dynamic.
I like Barnum's storytelling.
Yes.
Of like where the wishing
Yes,
machine came from.
Very into it.
Yeah.
Did he plan to make that, or was that a bunch of junk he had and made it?
Well, I think he planned it because it resembles pretty much the lamp he had in the Million Dreams when he was a kid.
Yeah. I assumed it was either the same lamp and he was passing it to them, or he had made something similar.
Yes. And of course, he knew it was his daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it was just something he made in front of him, so I didn't know if that was a wholly planned thing.
I think he put it together in front of them, maybe.
Yeah, he had to make it seem realistic.
That's fine. Just something I didn't know myself.
Well, now you do.
I
So
do.
you
And this
can't
is the
say-
start of an observation I've had through this whole movie of stars. There's a lot about stars in this.
Do you think they
No,
were trying to
true.
say there's a lot of stars in this movie?
That there are. Hugh Jackman's pretty big.
Well, Crimson, do you think the stars are okay, or would you personally rewrite the stars?
Bahaha, baha.
I don't know. I
I
think
do
there
like
needs
the
to be some
stars
more wars
for
in those
that.
stars, if you catch my drift.
But no, I'll talk more about the star stuff later.
Oh, okay, you think so?
Don't want to blow the load at the beginning here. Come on.
Whoa.
And then another part of like whether or not they're talking or singing, the daughter starts singing the song too.
Yeah, the same song.
The
The
same
same
song.
Oh my god, how did she know that song?
Um,
By the way, it took me a while to realize that they were in America and not in London because it looked
Yeah, that's
like
true.
London. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, it was
I was
very
like,
gray.
wait.
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah, I
now
thought it was
that
London until he put up the museum. Like, oh,
I thought it was London up until like they made a whole. Well, it's also weird because they go to like the Queen.
Well,
That's
yeah,
whatever, but
that's
yeah.
going across
I
the
know
water.
that's. I know that. Well, this has been out for like 5 years. If anybody has no idea what we're talking about, why are they watching this? But like, yeah, I was like, okay, that's a big jump to like not be like in London, and then like, oh, we're gonna go see the Queen now. It's like, oh, okay. Kind of feel like the president would be a easier start, but whatever.
well, he
Uh,
didn't have connections. to-
Something else about it being set in
Whatever.
London, which I guess could be
Yeah.
a little hard. I'm glad they said it's New York for the
It's not-
look,
it's not-
because if they're like, oh yeah, this is like California, no way, that would be cowboys,
Absolutely
That would
not.
be-
Yeah.
Cowboys.
ranch
You-
farmers.
Yeah, they could get away with the New York aesthetic. I did think it was London until they mentioned New York, and I'm like, okay,
Well, yeah.
mid
I
1800s,
was
that
like-
that fits. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, well, I know PT Barnum's an American. It's really weird. I didn't know he was like he grew up in like London. That's odd. But yeah, then I realized it's actually in America.
Yeah, I guess I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but the
Oh, I already
loan
did.
was
So go
the
ahead.
loan was $10,000, and I wanted to see what that would be today.
Or like a
So
million.
Oh, yeah.
I had to look up the year that this movie supposed to take place, which was 1870s. It wasn't specific.
Yeah.
And I guess for the California bit, it would still be shuffled little settlements post Gold Rush.
Oh well, now
Yeah.
you're just being a history buff, but whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
I sang a musical about the Gold Rush in high school, so I would know that. No, not high school.
The, you know,
Elementary school.
Because the Gold Rush was
Big difference.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, after the Gold Rush, 1971.
and I guess since I brought it up, might as well just say how much $10,000 is worth.
Yeah, go on then.
If I can
Were you
find it
expecting
in
us
my
to guess?
notes. I mean, if you want to guess, sure, shoot a guess.
$1. It's actually gone. It's actually lowered.
He was able to buy a building and put stuff in it.
Yeah. Connected to today,
Yeah, that's the inflation. That's
Oh.
10,000.
Gosh. Over 100 years? Oh, man.
I'm gonna
God,
guess.
50
I'm
years.
gonna throw my guess out there. I'm gonna guess somewhere between 5 million and 10 million.
I'll go 7.5 million.
Okay.
So
I'll
Thanks,
you
Ryder.
got one?
I'll go 7.6 million.
Oh, well.
You're all off pretty far.
Yeah, is it like $1 million?
No, it's a little over $220,000.
Oh, okay.
You joking?
220.
Are you joking?
No,
Wow.
you guys really overestimated inflation.
I don't
Yeah.
know how inflation works.
Yeah.
Well, I could have guessed that. But,
Well, I could have guessed that.
but now
in
you
terms of
know. 1870s, $10,000 is a little over 200.
I do have to point out the problems. How the hell he was able to get this as collateral?
Well, he had ships and the.
Yeah, he gave the deed.
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
the
and the
deed.
Yeah, but like, did he steal it from work?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was that scene
put
where
it
he
in
was
his
taking.
little
Yeah,
store.
Okay. Well,
His little
then
store.
then the problem does become the failing business would have taken an issue with this.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
they
but it
don't
was
have
like. Yeah.
cell phones or computers to check.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so all,
It would
yeah.
take a while to fact check his
And then,
collateral.
yeah, and then by the time he would have,
and he has a
would have had
month to pay him back. So
And-
I think it works.
It's an actual official deed, so it's not plagiarized.
Yeah.
Look like one
Well,
at
yeah,
all.
but he's saying he owns it when technically he
Oh,
doesn't.
yeah.
So
He
Yeah.
doesn't.
it's still
I
it's
feel
still murky legality wise, but
yeah. I feel like because when the business tries to get collateral, because they will, because they're going bankrupt, that would present a problem. I think with the bank.
well, yeah. But then at that point, you could say, well, it doesn't exist. It's all at the bottom of the ocean, so there's not,
Yeah. Like I said, I'm fine with it. I think I just needed an extra line to kind of explain it away. I don't know what that line would be. It's just otherwise.
It's- What they're just going off of the fact that even if they were to try to prove it, it would have taken a long time, and
Mhm.
even get that information. And then by that point, technically, he would either have absconded with the money and not be able to be found for several years, or would have a thriving business. So it wouldn't really matter whether the collateral was real or not, because then they'd probably just ask for like actual collateral. But
Yeah,
either way,
They
Yeah.
said a month to pay it off. I guess that's within his success window. There's not really much time frame here. So
Yeah,
one could
yeah,
assume
yeah.
that he paid him back and they could have found out, but they got their money back anyways, type deal. So it didn't matter.
also, this is
especially.
like, again,
don't know.
19th century.
Not sure.
Businessmen aren't like the most upright citizens as they have ever been in history. So
I think it's enough for that.
there's enough there where they can be vague about it, and it doesn't really.
Especially with how fast they were going through this beginning bit.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about whiplash.
Well, yeah. Went through
And
20 years and 25 minutes.
I think sticking to PT's character, he uses that loan money to buy a museum rather than get them out of that broken apartment.
Well, he's for the
Well,
dream.
That's true.
Well, because you
Well,
can
he's
have like
buying himself a job.
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Like it's much better to use a loan to like make a business than it is to like get something, because then you don't have the money to pay it back.
Yeah. So I'm okay with his choice to buy a museum.
And I know it's very subtle,
Yeah.
but in the museum, how Hugh Jackman's portrayal of PT is like eccentric and just like over the top and enthusiastic about how much he loves the museum.
Yeah.
And I like the acting that's going through Charity of just how uncertain, and I don't know if I don't know if it's upset, but
I would say
Just-
I don't think
concerned.
she was upset.
Yeah.
I think she was concerned because if you look at that, watching that scene, it's pretty ramshackle. I mean,
Yeah. I was more fixating on his kids, because even they were kind of turned off by it.
yeah, they're like,
He was
by a
Glass
guillotine.
figures?
yeah.
It's all the rage in Europe.
And then Meeting a Thief.
Yeah,
Good
I
one.
really thought O'Malley would be a main character, at least relevant in some capacity.
Yeah,
but he
they
only
kinda set him
popped
up
up a
for it.
couple times with one-liner.
You know what? Crimson, I'm gonna go with you. I think that is a bit of a flaw in this movie. Is they have too many characters for the time allotted of the film.
Absolutely. I would have much.
I mean, that was my big. Yeah, I was like, I felt like there was a lot of characters in this that were more interesting, that deserved more screen time
Yeah.
than didn't.
I
get
mean,
it.
for me, all the oddities are lumped into like a single character, which is a
Yeah,
shame.
which, I mean, it's which I can understand that, but it also it kind of, I think that should have been like they kind of set that up to be a main focus, and they just kind of forgot. They just kind of get lost there.
Mhm.
Well, they kind of treat like was it Anne or Annie? I don't remember. Was it
Anne.
Zendaya's Anne? They kind of set up like she gets like bullied as much as I guess the bearded lady, which I don't think would be.
No,
the case.
that's
Well, because she's black.
she does trapeze.
Yeah. So they didn't really make the oddities unique in how they are treated by the public. They're all lumped together.
Well,
Writer said.
with the trapeze ones, it's because they were African American. And
Yeah, but
you
they
know,
don't really harp on
I'm
that.
just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
that's enough for them to be kind of lumped
Yeah,
in. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I agree with Sinister that's a
I
good
think there was
connection
only
of why.
one time something racial was brought up during this whole thing.
You're
And,
you're out with her kind or something. I don't know. They didn't say
Yeah,
it like that.
I think it's
think-
good.
no.
It was definitely more of the show, not tell.
Well,
You already know the time
but
period. You already know
Crimson-
what the.
yeah, you can just assume.
Crimson wants them to say racist. That's what he
I'm
wants.
just saying, with what they showed, it was shown across all the oddities.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make their problems unique, they should have made them unique by pointing it out to some degree, which they didn't. That's all I'm saying in regards to the racism
think so,
it
dude?
not being present, obviously.
I see though. I
present,
mean,
I guess.
granted, I think maybe I'm just a little bit more observant than most people. Maybe I'll but I got that vibe like instantly, where I was just like, okay, yeah, it's a race thing. It's not like they're not freaks or something. Well, to a racist, they're freaks, but you know what I'm saying. Like I got it, and it didn't have to be like stated in so many words, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's America, 1800, or 1900s. Like, yeah, it's,
Yeah, I was a little late on understanding because I was wondering what their oddities were, and then I realized I think I figured it out. One, fucking Zac Efron, meets Trevor. Yeah, once Zac Efron meets Trapeze Girl, that's when I think I started understanding at least what their quote unquote oddity was. It was just, you know.
And then the family goes into the advertising, which
Yeah.
is in shambles and does not work.
I like that they showed him actually drawing up printmaking for the posters. It's nice of them
did
to-
they give you deja vu when you used to draw?
Yeah, when I used to do printmaking, it's not a very fun process
No, it is not.
because
And I like. I was just
each
gonna-
poster could turn out very different and look. One could look good, one could look horrible.
That's why they're so
Lots
expensive.
of trial and error.
That's true.
'Cause they're all different slightly.
The
I
stupid
like
ink blowers.
how it's
Sorry.
the grand opening for the museum, and PT is already giving discounts, trying to get people in.
Well, that's
20%
not.
off anyone with a hat.
Whoa, sir, that's you.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with. I mean, I'm probably more familiar with his, American Museum of Oddities or whatever than the circus part. But I don't know if he like. I don't think he struggled as much as they show in this. But obviously for the dramatic effect, he has to, has to be a struggle. And then, oh, freaks, yes, let's get those guys. Those will bring in a crowd.
How many tickets did we sell? 3. Turns to the
Okay.
family.
Yeah.
What? So that's his money, though. They spent
Also-
his money and gave it back to.
I
I don't know if any of you caught it,
Yeah.
but from the museum of showing it off to his kids and charity up to where he goes up to O'Malley to ask how many tickets they've sold, it's been at least 3 days.
No.
Because E.T.'s outfit has changed 3 times.
Ah, okay. I did not catch that.
It
Oh.
feels like it all could be on the same exact day, but his outfit and hat has changed 3 times. So
Okay.
I'm like, wow, that's an interesting way to do time cuts to feel, smooth.
Yeah, I didn't
think
notice
he,
that.
Like, yeah.
Um,
Do you think? Well, I wonder what the costume budget was for this movie.
I think we did skip over one detail. When young PT got handed an apple by an oddity.
Oh yeah. Well,
Very generous, especially during this time.
Yes. The only reason I bring that up is because I actually do think that was set up for him actually
Yeah.
already really loving and caring for them. Like he already treats them as people. Like, and this is why. It's because they treated him, when he was a gutter rat, essentially.
That's true.
Since we're back to young Barnum, there was
we'll see that for the rest
I
of
had
this
written
talk,
down
then.
but forgot to bring up.
Yeah.
So when you looked at the window at the outfit, was that
Oh.
just a normal suit or was that a performer suit? I couldn't tell.
I think it was a normal suit.
It's a normal suit, but it was just very extravagant.
It was just kind of burgundy looking. It was to match the look of his ring leader
So
outfit.
if it was performer, as it was going to be a problem for me. But if it's normal suit,
It was going to be a problem. I was going to have to.
I think it was
because
just black
he
top
never
hat.
showed an interest in being
red
showman
jacket.
until his daughters brought it up as a possibility to bring him.
No, it was just like that's a very well, because most like if it was a dyed, or clothes that were bright and colorful, because the more vibrant the dye, the more expensive it was, just by the nature of it, because most of those dyes were very hard to come by, so
Especially
that would,
purple.
yeah, especially purple. So it was just you just like the look of it and how expensive it looked, I'm assuming. But it just so happens that it also looks like the ringleader's outfit, so don't give a little bit.
I have a question. Do you think Charity and the kids actually bought tickets to their own museum?
They
Yeah.
showed it, so I'd say yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
that's his own money going back to himself.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's I
They're
guess
just trying
that's
to
a
be
tactic.
supportive.
A tactic to show like, oh, look, people are actually buying tickets to go here.
Yeah, I mean that's how people. Yeah, that's how it used to. Work anyways. People. They. I mean, it's just like a little. It's just like a tactic. Like, oh well, like with landlords and stuff, where they like say they have like max occupancy when they have like 5 or 6 rooms available, so they keep the you.
Like
calling.
they're popular. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the same sort of thing.
And then
Oh,
we
man.
go on to Barnum at home and checks on
And-
Charity and talks to his daughters.
He's like upset. And he slaps those kids around, man.
I don't
Just-
remember that.
Tyrant.
Did
Yeah,
he
what-
turn into Charity's dad for a moment?
Yeah, he was like, thank you for being honest.
Did he
Bam!
ever have a
Smack.
name?
Go to bed.
Yeah, the daughter's like, everything in your museum's dead. Thanks for your honesty. You need something sensational. A
Something
mermaid,
alive.
a unicorn.
A mermaid.
Sensational. That's my word. Slap.
A mermaid, like from
We
Fiji.
here at Treat
What's
Chris not endorse
Fiji?
feeding
Yeah.
children.
I do like how
You're not supposed to laugh at children getting beaten. It's not
I like how
funny.
one daughter believes in mermaids and one believes in unicorns, and they're against that the other one's real.
I mean, you have siblings. It's not like how it works.
that
I
was
mean,
fine for me. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I just think it's nice rather than one daughter, because it's very quiet, because it moves on to the next scene of PT at his desk, where you can just hear the other daughter say it, that mermaids aren't real either, to show that they're both against each other rather than like the oldest against the youngest kind of thing. So it's equal ground.
equal ground.
Barnum looks at an apple and be like, "Hey, I can make money off this."
Hey, I
He
can
looks
make
at that
money
apple
off
and he
an
goes,
apple.
"Oh my god, it's the same exact apple."
No,
Yeah.
He actually starved that night, and it's all been a hallucinatory dream. I'm starving.
Her
I mean,
Odyssey.
this could all be a dream because in the beginning we saw him looking at the suit of the ending of this movie. Be a loop.
Oh, well.
This could be a dream.
So from the realization of the apple, and I guess the
He's like,
little
wait,
fragment
I
of
can
his
make money
mind
off
of
you.
fragment
Well,
of
he
his mind
also
of
saw-
seeing Charles at the bank.
Yeah, we skipped that part.
Yeah.
He met a little person.
What are you looking at?
He
Yeah.
goes to visit Charles.
Who is
I don't
a
have
And I
a
gotta,
son.
I gotta say, I don't know exactly what they did to these like 2 back-to-back shots when he's going up to the house, but they
Uh-huh.
make him look small, like it looks like a miniature house.
Well, that's all for the setup here, because Charles is.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
It looks like a scene from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland.
I noticed this, but I noticed it later on, so I'll bring it up again later. But I think I have an idea of what they're trying to do, with why they're doing that, and I think it is they're doing it to tie it to one of Burnham's character traits, Barnum's character traits.
No space Jesus.
I thought it was very interesting, and I'm a little upset that it was so short. But I did like it because to me it fit with matching meeting Charles, who's his oddities being short, so it kind of makes PT look almost equal to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. His little misread of people are going to laugh at you anyways, why as well make money doing it. Not the best read of the
Yeah.
situation there.
No,
I do like that he's being blunt about it.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
like,
he's not going to sugarcoat it, because that's essentially what it is. But
I think at least from like the introduction he had to Charles earlier, is he knows that he's not really going to take the doesn't really want to be sort of talked down to, or talked, or even talked up to. He just wants to be like a person.
Mhm.
And so being honest and not just being, like, oh no, they're not going to laugh at you at all. They're going to love you or something. It's like, well, yeah, they're going to there's going to be ones that laugh at you. Yeah, but you got to be bigger.
yeah, and I do like the whole Napoleon kind of speech he gives him, or like the general.
the general.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see you as a general with a pistol in one hand and a sword in the other.
Just more of PT's
I like- yeah.
stories.
yeah.
It is.
I like Charles a lot. I wish they used him more in this movie.
Yeah, I think it was fairly good.
I thought they were setting up to
He
be
was
like
one of the oddities that actually had character.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
liked him and the queen.
Yeah, that was
We'll
a good.
get to that.
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Whew, yeah.
So then this follows the more advertising of wanting oddities, which doesn't connect to a song, but just the beat of the hammers.
Yeah,
I thought that was the song, the beat of the hammers. I was hoping that would lead into a musical number, but I still liked the beat of the hammers.
I like the beat.
It was short and sweet.
Yeah,
And then
they get told where an oddity is, and they go there. And you see the
singing
bearded
the
lady
Bearded lady.
singing with her voice, her face covered halfway.
Mhm.
So we get the dramatic reveal.
It's also, I guess, fitting, but they put the bearded lady in the corner.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to look
Which
at
is
her.
it's a nice touch.
Like they're
It's
out
weird
of
that-
sight, out of mind kind of thing.
It's
You're
weird that nobody
beautiful.
wants to look at her, but they all laugh at her. It's like a weird juxtaposition.
Well, they laugh at her because Barnum says that she thinks
beautiful.
that she's beautiful.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know that's why they laugh, but still, like, I don't know. It's a weird thing where, like, I don't want to look at you, but I still think you're funny. I don't know. I agree, though, that that's not really that's more of a nitpick.
Yeah.
And she was not sold on
Whatever.
the whole thing until she saw the children.
The
Yeah.
children were very nice to her.
Yeah,
Yes.
the children.
This was
The children gave her the ad.
this must be a nice man.
And I
And
kind
then we have-
sorry,
Oh.
I got one more thing about that. I do like that Barnum is bringing his kids around. So like
Yeah.
they're learning from an early age that that these are just people,
These are just people who I'm gonna make money off of. But that's beside the.
And
That makes it
ignored them
sound.
for my pursuit of money. But that's
Whoa!
And then we go into, I guess, tryouts, somewhat, or the interviews.
The interview process.
I
I
know this is probably just me, but I got Mystery Men vibes.
Yeah.
Tryouts.
I did.
That's not, in a good way. I thought they were appropriately funny, and they were appropriately it was well balanced between funny and just showing off the oddities as what their traits are.
I liked him talking to the fat guy.
Yeah, 750.
750 pounds. It's classic PT Barnum to exaggerate.
And then he goes, "I think you're Irish." To the giant.
Yeah, the giant
Just make
Russian.
it simple.
the
Irish
Irish giant.
Irish giant.
We got
And then
the.
he-
I mean, I'm
He did more advertising, and I think it's weird. He's like, "And on milk bottles."
I
Yeah,
mean,
I feel like that
I
would be the hardest one to do.
I also think that would be the hardest one to do, but it makes sense for the era because that was a huge thing.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
everybody got their milk in bottles and they were all delivered, so you couldn't really escape it. Although it doesn't really sell your product if it's just like a face of some guy you don't know on it.
Well,
well,
I don't
it's
remember.
a
Yeah,
freak
you-
that you've never seen before.
I don't
so
think you
wanna
want to
see
get a
them-
bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a bottle of milk that says Dog Boy on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Dog boy milk.
I
Dog
mean,
boy milk. Oh yeah.
as a collector, yeah, sure.
As a collector in
As
the
a collector.
1870s.
Well, when you know of what it's advertising, because it doesn't show like Barnum Museum, it just said like Dog Boy. If
Unless
you
they
know
were
the
like,
connection,
yeah.
I think it would
unless-
make more sense. But
Unless they were
randomly,
like, yeah, unless it was like they were selling the milk bottles
I
there
thought-
or something.
I
don't
thought
know.
it was I thought they put a circus line on those advertisements. Was it literally just the creatures,
don't know.
like the oddities?
I think the creatures.
Well, I
What's
mean-
circus. What is the circus you speak of? We're not at a circus.
I
well, it says Barnum's Museum. I think for
annoyed me a
these.
little bit.
Okay.
Ryder,
Yeah, I didn't
I looked at it. They
expect
do
it.
all say Barnum's Museum.
Okay.
Okay.
Then yes, I think that's very perfect. That's fine.
Yeah, I when I first saw it, I thought it just was like the people on it. And I was like, well, that doesn't really sell a circus because that doesn't really mean anything.
I mean, the Greatest Show, not a circus. Whatever.
Well, yeah, he calls the building a circus.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
And then from there, we go into the third song number, "Come Alive."
Come
Yeah.
alive, come
Where-
alive.
Where you get the idea
starts-
that? I'm sorry. Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, right before it starts, there's a little, I guess, foreshadowing that I liked.
Oh.
Is there's a train going by out front of the museum, and on the train it says Barnum's Museum, which is with trains reminds me of just circuses.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
No, I mean,
we
that is-
we see trains several times in this movie. Like,
Yes, but this one's
during
actually
the steam
advertised.
dance. So. Okay. Observation, I suppose. This is another song that just blends in. Like I said, kind of sounds similar enough to the Million Dreams for me. So just blend.
yeah.
Got that bearded lady singing.
I do agree. I think I like the start of the song before it like blended into
Yeah.
being like everything else. Because I like that Barnum is the one that's talking all of them up to get so they can feel brave about themselves, and I think then it blends into the after like that part of it's done. That's when it blends into the generic, similar sounding song for me. So I do think that the opening lines to the song were good, but after that I agree. It was kind of fell flat. which is a shame.
Flat, you say?
Yes, and then
She starts exaggerating the
just-
looks of everyone.
Yeah.
he stuffs a pillow for the 750-pound man.
Yeah.
The tall guy looks like he's on stilts now, something, because he can't stand straight, which
Yeah.
causes him to come out the front early, causing the audience to see everybody early.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sing. It's happy, huge success right off the bat.
Yeah, they immediately break all records. It's, the movie ends on a good note.
They got a platinum record already. It's crazy.
They have a platinum Edison wax.
There's a child, like Tiny Tim, in crutches.
Yeah, with crutches. It just shows how inspiring they are to that kid.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just, very on
And
the
then we
nose.
got Crimson, another CGI horse.
Yep, I wrote that
CGI
in
animal.
parentheses. CGI horse looks bad.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to this movie with their visual effects.
Yeah.
So
I
in
don't know,
2017, it was this 20th century?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they definitely got a budget. So how big was the budget again? 80 million, you said, or 180 million?
The budget was 84 million.
80. Yeah, that's half of that's probably Hugh Jackman, but still.
Yeah. Well, after you got probably because when they do the budget for it, it's not like the filming budget alone. It's
Well, they never put advertising in it.
Well,
No,
there
that
was
is. I mean, that's usually.
There was a fact that I couldn't tell if it was necessarily true or not, so I didn't bring it up. But there's the possibility that Hugh Jackman has been wanting this movie since 2009, and no one was accepting the idea of the movie being made.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to be wanting.
I want to do a PT Barnum movie.
I mean, we all have, I guess, those niches. Like there's definitely some adaptations I'd want for books that I read. So I find that acceptable. I mean, if he definitely wants it, we all have our little niches that we want.
It's just weird that Hugh Jackman's would be making a movie about PT Barnum. That's just a far. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a really far left field thing.
Oh, it shows a 14. Darn. I was going to say, did he go off of Night at the Museum 3 and be like, I want to do a musical?
Damn.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot he was in that movie.
So did he.
So did I.
So did.
Well, it wasn't a good movie. Sorry, Spence.
And I have a feeling Ryder's going to like this little tidbit, but in this song, Come Alive, we got our first introduction and look at Bennett.
Yes.
I like
Yep. Me too. I love him.
He's a big sourpuss.
Yep.
he was great.
Yeah. He is definitely because head on the nose, I guess.
He is us.
Yes, he is us. But also, I think Bennett and Barnum's interactions are probably my favorite in the whole film musical.
Especially at the end.
Oh yeah.
That's Bennett.
Yeah, I figured you'd like Bennett's character at least.
Yeah.
I think the best thing about him, even that end thing, he's very consistent with his character.
Yep. I don't really have much to say about him right now, but I do like we get our first look of him here. So
His
And of
initial
course-
rating or review is criminal, degrading, and a circus.
And PT, of course, takes that as free advertisement.
yeah,
I loved that.
yeah.
Anyone who brings in this paper gets half off.
Yep.
That's how
I
used
love
to
it.
work.
I love it.
And
And
publicity.
I also like that when everyone's applauding, you can still see him still writing away his critique, like he's still taking notes.
Yeah.
And I think the choreography in this scene was also very good for Come Alive.
It was fine. Yeah.
Um,
There were other dance sequences I think that were better in this film. This one
Yes.
was okay.
I think for
my two favorite ones are probably the rooftop and train station dance, and the Zendaya.
The
Zac
train
Efron
station
one.
dance was
Yeah,
one of your
this-
favorite
this-
choreographies?
Well, they're the same dance sequence. It's all in one thing together.
Oh,
So it's-
okay.
I viewed that as the same dance.
All right.
But yeah,
I
So-
like. They do it twice, I believe, but I like at the end when everyone's clapping, it's silent.
Oh yeah, I love that. It was very you're on the emotional rush, so it's almost like you don't notice that you're being applauded.
Yeah.
I do like that as well.
I also
Barnum's
like
got
that
his hat.
when the show is sold out and everything, O'Malley watches the performance. He's actually present. Because he was in the background of the applauding.
Yeah.
So then, after that song, we go on to the touch of
Right.
Barnum speaking with Bennett.
And Bennett says, "I hate you. I hate you so very much."
um,
Do you enjoy being fake?
yeah, I mean this definitely
Are these
this
smiles fake?
yeah I like their fraud talk, and I think this discussion results in one of my favorite lines of dialogue, which is a theater critic who can't find joy in a theater. Now who's the fraud?
Yeah,
Definitely
also
a
wrote
very
down a
strong
line
line.
I
Yeah.
liked.
I always enjoy. It's becoming a lot rare in, I think, movies. I like dialogue where technically both characters, in the argument or whatever, are correct,
Mhm.
because Bennett's technically correct about P.T. Barnum, but then P.T. Barnum's also correcting his assumption of, or his point of against Bennett. So it's very interesting.
So, sorry, Springs, you were saying?
Okay, no, it's okay. There was another line I liked down. A line I liked that I wrote down, which was "Men suffer from imagining too little than too much," and followed by the creed of a true fraud.
Yep. Like I said, they have a nice repartee. Honestly, seeing this, it felt like a very exaggerated version of the discussions I've had with Sinister on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
The Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for example, yeah, it kind of reminded me of our bit back and forth a little bit. So,
Which one's Bennett? Which one's P.T. Barnum?
I will
Which
leave
one's
it.
the fraud here?
Yeah, it depends on the
Yeah.
conversation.
I honestly, it does depend on the conversation, I think.
He's the
So,
Star Wars fraud.
Ooh.
Yeah, I liked how Barnum used Bennett's paper to increase sales, and he also used his description of circus in his
Yeah.
title, which we now see on the building.
Even though it's technically not a actual circus, it's a building with the word circus on it.
I'll
It's a
also
sideshow.
I like that
I'll
he
touch on a
embraces
little-
the criticism, or
Yeah,
what is criticism? I like he just takes it to heart and owns it, because to quote Tyrion Lannister, you know what you are, and they can never be used to hurt you. Wear it like armor.
Yeah, that would have been funny if that's just what your quote was. Be what you are. Tyrion Lannister.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
that's
It's just like so
many
short.
movies. It's so generic, yeah.
Yeah, it's so short, like Tyrion Lannister. Ah,
Charles.
ah.
It's all connected.
Something I'll touch on a little that I kind of liked is Bennett's color scheme is very just dark and black,
Yeah.
and pretty much
Now we're in.
everyone out and about has color on them
Yeah.
in some capacity.
He's a cynic.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's just
So I like that, Bennett's not necessarily a main character, but it does still make him stand out.
He's supposed to be like he's supposed to be the opposite of what P.T. Barnum is, essentially. He's supposed to be the id.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then from that, we go to PT showing his family that he bought the manor, touched it all up, and which is very nice, very cool. When Charity thinks like, "Oh, is this to get my parents?" He goes, "No, it's just."
Let's correct myself. I meant Bennett is the ego, and PT Barnum.
Oh, did I say?
No, I
Oh.
messed up. I was quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's something I'd like to touch on. Those aren't zebras.
Yep. You're gonna bring that up.
Those are painted horses.
I like that though.
Yes. Okay.
That's classic. But yeah.
I had to run through my Rolodex of memories to figure out what you were talking about. I got it.
Defensive animals.
And he got one daughter ballet slippers that she wanted, but the other daughter didn't get Santa Claus.
Yeah.
She got a house.
Not remotely close.
I don't know.
Yeah, just forgot about that.
Barnum dresses in a red
oddities.
suit. Santa
You
Claus
could've
dresses
gotten
in a red
Santa.
suit. I don't know. Could have been.
Well, I'm thinking the daughter with the ballet slippers. Actually, I don't remember their names. The daughter with
They
the
didn't
ballet
have any.
slippers. It was actually her birthday.
I know one of them was named Caroline. I don't know if that was the one that had the slippers or not.
I don't know.
It might be
think
Helen
so.
for the other one. Maybe, I don't know.
They're just background characters. Doesn't matter.
And then this goes Crimson. I believe your number 3 transition.
Yeah, so the daughter doing ballet practice within the house to then transitioning to her at a performance.
I like that they made her not be good.
Yeah.
Did
Oh
they?
yeah.
Yeah, she was not
I
doing.
like-
She was the quote unquote the worst in the performance. Like you can see, she was
Yeah.
off time because she was new.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm happy that she was failing. I know that's not what you think I mean, but I like that they kind of because most of the time when there's like a dance sequence or something, even if it's be like oh, I'm just starting out. This is my first bit. I got to do a good job. Like she was so not great because she was starting out. So I like that little
Her
attention
first
to detail.
recital.
Ew, what's the smell?
It smells
Oh,
like
yeah.
peanuts.
Wow.
Laser
Holy.
Those are some bitches.
Yeah, they were.
Or as Charity said, prima donnas.
Prima donna. That was the polite way of saying bitches back in the 19th century.
And we get our first little instant look at Philip.
Philip Carlisle.
who also, I didn't know Zac Efron was going to be in this movie.
No, I did not. Oh, I did not either. I was like, oh hey, it's that guy because I didn't know his name until
Hey,
the end.
it's Baywatch.
Hey, it's Troy Bolton.
Hey, it's
Wow.
High School Musical
You
3.
knew this High School Musical, man.
It's God, I can't remember. Link
Exposed.
from Hairspray.
Hey, it's Charlie
The
St. Cloud.
only Zac Efron movie I watched was a romance movie that I did for a project in high school because they were trying to do like a questionnaire for high school students watching a particular Zac Efron romance movie.
Go on.
And it was just to measure how high schoolers reacted to certain films. So we watched a horror movie, watched a romance movie, and we watched an action movie. And the Zac Efron romance movie, I don't know the name of it. It was just he was a soldier who was basically trying to find a woman in a picture because the picture saved his life.
Oh.
The lucky
yeah,
one?
Maybe it might be the lucky one. The girl in the photo had a cop for a husband. If
Yeah,
that lights
lucky one,
anything,
yeah.
okay.
How do you know that? How did you know what that was called?
He knew his name from High School Musical.
Yeah.
His
okay,
full
fair enough.
name.
I do.
Everyone knows him as Troy, but you
I
knew
mean,
his
there's
last
3
name.
movies. He has the same name in all 3 movies.
Yeah, but you knew his last name though.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
really,
not saying Sprinks has a poster of Zac Efron in his room, but I'm not denying it either.
I'm not saying it either.
Well, Sinister, I think our best experience with Zac Efron is that down-to-earth documentary thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I love that.
Oh, boy.
I want to watch more of that. You guys won't do it.
What
It
about
sucks.
a
It sucks 'cause
documentary?
It's so. It's so fucking
Ryder,
funny.
you don't want to see it.
No, it's you have no.
Whoa, man.
You
We're
Ryder
in a
would love it.
cave.
It's so bad. It's so funny. I love it.
Oh boy.
Because we're gonna get on a tangent here, but like he's trying to be like a travel blogger, like a travel blog. He's trying to do like Anthony Bourdain, you know.
But it's
But,
not
like,
not as
no,
in
but
depth.
yeah, and so he's got like a fucking
Get running some stoner surfboarder.
like a
going.
like a California beach bum guy who's like selling like bullshit, like, you know, spiritual, like, you know, middle age bullshit. Like, yeah, man, you got to take your shoes off when you go to a new place because the magnets in the earth will center you and you won't be jet lagged anymore, which is a kind of true thing. But they literally had gone, like, they were in, like, probably, like, a 30-minute different time zone. So it didn't even matter. But, yeah, there's a whole... It's hilarious. It's great. It's great because how awful it is. But anyways, yeah, that's my favorite.
Greatest Showman.
I'll take that as under advisement, I guess.
Now, that's the greatest show, man.
Man.
That's a groaner.
Barnum's daughter wants to quit ballet now.
Yeah, because a bunch of the
She
bitches
got
trope.
teased.
Yeah.
And now Barnum's all like, they're all mean because I was a poor. They know I was a tailor's boy, and so now I have to show them that I'm not.
Yeah.
These freaking 10-year-olds picking on me.
I think this is where I got the imagery, like that Springs brought up earlier. It was when after the conversation with the daughter, like he's alone with Charity in their bedroom, and there's a shot where he's like pacing away from her, and you have a very, very wide zoom of a very, very big room, like how little space that they take up in it. I think I got the impression that this is where I got the whole spacing that I think they were trying to do. And I thought the idea was like everything else around Barnum is his dream.
Oh, Burnham.
Yeah, is like him dreaming big, and that's why everything else around him is so big. That's kind of where I thought that they were trying to do, like imply with the cinematography that particular symbolism.
Oh, that's a nice connection.
Yeah, it's because he's a big dreamer, so that's why everything is framed around him being like extremely. Everything else around him was framed to be very, very big. That's why I walked away with that.
Probably something they were going for. I don't know if I caught that, but I that would be cool if that was a.
Yeah, like I said, I'm the writer guy, so I'm throwing this one to Spring. So does that pass the test for you?
That does pass the test because it's brought up multiple times.
Yeah,
and it's seen multiple. So I think that is a purposeful decision that they went with. And the fact that they're very short, they're not over the top, showing like, because that would be jarring. They're like, why does he look so small?
It's only in very particular shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even when they cut away from the wide shot and they frame him in this scene, like he is like in the center of the frame, so you feel like the world is around him is very, very big still. Because it wasn't a close up like your typical close up as one would expect it to be. They framed the character very, very center. Like they broke the rule of thirds. He was very center frame, almost.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The rule of thirds are more like guidelines.
Yeah.
Guidelines.
That's a different movie.
More like that's a good movie though. We should watch that movie.
Oh yeah. So then we have PT talking to Philip and offering him a drink.
Yes.
And Philip says, "Don't worry, I don't need you to buy me a drink. I'm already drunk."
Well, I forget what he said. He's like, "Have you been to the show?" And he goes, "God, no, but I've seen the reviews."
No, I've seen the crowds.
Yeah.
I do. I think this is what is one of my favorite musical numbers in the movie.
It's also one of my.
The Other Side.
I like that,
because I like
now.
Sorry,
I was just gonna say this choreography.
Yeah, the choreography throws me off a little bit, but
Bartender.
Yeah,
I like that guy in the background, just like
Yeah, I do like it because he also throws his arms out when they do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I like him in the background. He's just like, I don't know what these guys are doing, but I'm happy because I'm getting paid tonight for being a bartender.
Again, I would love to hear like the on-set like noise of because they'd have like because they're doing it like choreographed like how it would be on the actual stage with the sound effects and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if it like
be that funny clip of Elvis where
I
it's
love
just
that.
the squeaky shoes.
I love that. Oh, that's my favorite.
Did you guys notice that Philip drank more overall than PT?
Did anybody else really want them to all start like slurring after all that drinking and everything?
Did anyone want them to start kissing each other?
You did.
Oh,
sorry. He told me that in confidence.
shit. Just wanted to see Zach kiss somebody.
I wanted to
Right
see
now,
Zach
not later.
shirtless kiss Hugh Jack.
I
derailed
do.
here.
Yeah, I also another reason to really, I guess I really liked this song and their conversations with one another because this one felt like a conversation in song, and I think that really helped elevate the music for me. I liked the pitch that PT Barnum gave him. Like he's pitching to him freedom essentially. Like this is of course you are going to risk everything, but you will enjoy life if you do. I kind of like that. I like that approach to his pitch because he owns that fact that he doesn't deny the risk when Philip points it out.
Yeah.
So I this is one of the numbers I really really liked this song.
Yeah, I like the back and forth with them talking percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
The business.
Did you remind you of Pawn Stars?
Best I could do is $10.
$10. 15. 10. 12. 10.
Yeah, they went 7, 18. Why not just ask for a nickel on the dime?
Yeah.
15, 8, 12, 9, 10.
I don't.
And the
like,
music stops on 10.
Yeah. Would you like risk like your inheritance and everything for like 10% of a freak show?
Of a business that you don't think would recoup? Probably not a good business decision.
But I guess
I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it depends on how much I care about my family's upbringing because I never got the impression that like as PT pointed out he doesn't really like his family. So
yeah, that's true. I know like in his situation it's less about the money and more about just like being free to do something that he actually enjoys. But I was like, I don't know. I don't think I would risk everything for like 10% of a. I'd want like 15 or 20.
So, once again, jumping in, we find out that he saves his money.
Later on.
Why didn't he save any of his inheritance to this point?
Well, you didn't get it though. You don't inherit it until after the person dies.
That's true.
that's more of like
his gave him money all the time.
Yeah, that
So
I'm sure they give him an allowance, but the inheritance is a different thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I assumed that like him risking his inheritance is that because if he does this, it's gonna like disgrace the family name and they'll just disown him.
Yeah.
I think this musical number scene was, as I said, choreography. I think it was very cool and well done. I liked how PT goes over to the piano, which is playing itself.
Yes.
And he's acting like he's actually doing it, but he's a fraud.
Yeah.
And as soon as Philip turns around, he closes it. I like that when they're cutting between the percentages, the barkeep is putting a shot on each side, back and forth. I like when it goes silent and the barkeep's looking for payment. The beat that PT, I don't know if any of you got this, but the beat that PT does on himself and then Philip takes out the cash is shave and a haircut 2 bits.
Yep. Another thing to notice is Philip's wearing a red vest and PT's wearing a blue one.
Harvey B.
Well, not what I was going for, but sure.
Something I noticed was while they're having the whole join me talk, this was right before they bring up where the percentages. They both wrap their scarves around at the same time.
Yes.
And then Zach brings up, well, if I was to join, I'd need a percentage. Like, okay, so now they're on the same wavelength together, which is
Whoa.
Yes.
That's how I saw that.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my, as I said, I love a lot about this scene, and that also is just another check in the box. Yeah.
And then it does another, at least in my opinion, another cool transition of the bar floor going to the backstage of the circus.
And that was my last transition that I think I wrote down. So, yes, I liked it as well.
And then showing Philip most of the acts, and then they're trading hats and dancing on the stairs.
And everyone's,
yeah,
I got the impression that all the oddities are like amused by it.
Well, it's a new face being brought in that's happy.
Yeah.
I do
Which
think
I
they're
guess
a little bit wary of him, though, because he's technically comes from the society that doesn't really like them.
Well, I don't know if the oddities knew his status
I don't
at that moment, because
I don't think they
They don't know
did
what-
because Anne brought up, "What's your act?"
yeah,
Well, that's what I mean, though. Also, like, what's your act?
you freak, you don't have an act.
That's the freakiest freak of all.
He just admits he doesn't have one.
And
Yet.
He
He's
sees
got the-
Anne
he's got-
performing.
Yeah, he's got the hots for Zendaya.
Yeah, love at first sight.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely got the picture across of starry-eyed, like love at first sight for both of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Crimson, where are you going?
I don't know anymore. I wrote Riot at the circus. Is this one there in the alleyway, or is that later?
No, that's later.
No, this is when Anne asks, "What's your act?" and she walks off, and O'Malley brings PT, and Anne's brother is like just staring down
Got
Philip.
him down, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing here.
I was gonna say something. I'm not going to.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And then we have heckling protesters outside.
Okay, that's what it is. You freaks!
Bunch
Get
of
out of our
racist-
town!
No pitchforks, but they got the
Lots of
torches.
signs. Yeah, lots of signs and lots of.
They still put the effort in.
Boycott.
Yeah.
Hey, they all knew how to write. That's a pretty big accomplishment for America at that point in time.
That's true. That's a flaw.
I did complain that I was surprised PT knew how to write at the very beginning of the film. I just went, oh, okay.
Good handwriting as well.
Would that PT can write?
Would it have been cursive though? Back then.
Well, I mean, he wrote all those
Yeah,
letters to
cursive is
charity.
like
Well, yeah, no, that's what I complained about. I'm like, I guess he just knows
Oh,
writing.
okay.
No. What my complaint was, I didn't know. I'm surprised he could read and write. I just took that in stride. I'm like, okay, it's just, it's not
Especially
really a
from
flaw.
poor family,
Yeah,
as we saw.
Yeah, it's not a flaw necessarily because his dad could have taught him, or the tailor man could have taught him.
This then, after that, goes to another one of Bennett's articles, which is a little note I put in where I think we get Bennett's full name.
Oh, I didn't see his.
James Gordon Bennett.
James Gordon. I went, oh, come on. Oh, sorry, I went, come on.
Oh God!
yeah, James.
Yeah, I went,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
That boy was
Cool.
happy.
You should just kill him already.
Also, I believe I skimmed over it. I didn't actually read it, but I think the article is actually a full written article without like BS just written in there.
Oh,
That's a
James
long
Gordon Bennett was a real person.
Really?
So,
I believe he was.
yeah,
No,
I
yeah,
looked
he,
it up.
Bennett, yeah, he is. He
So-
is.
That is not a reference. That's a real person. Well, a reference to a real person.
But you can reference James Gordon enough.
Mhm.
That's true. I just went, oh, cool. So then they
And
go
then
into
he-
the whole.
Well, no, and then like him and freaking PT Barnum go off and do Harrod's karaoke.
Sensor, I feel like you really watched a bunch of deleted scenes that I didn't see.
Yeah.
I want to see these.
There you go.
I don't think I want to see the daughters getting slapped goodnight.
I do.
We've laughed enough where that has to be seen now. But
Listen. I call me a sick individual, but I think it's funny when in like movies and stuff. Obviously fake. Not like I don't actually think it's funny when kids get hit, but like fake hitting and stuff is really makes it me.
Like all the children's stuff in America's Funniest
No,
Videos,
like
kind of.
what was well yeah, but like
those are
no,
funny too, though.
what's that like Rocka Rocka or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
The YouTube channel.
the Ronald
Yeah.
I love that.
Ronald at the play structure where he rips out a kid's tongue and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And like I said, call me like I don't think it's funny when I don't think it's funny when kids get actually beat, like in.
Oh, when they get intentionally beat up, yeah.
Yeah, like if it's
But
like
they fall down the stairs. Or
Yeah,
something, that's
I think it's just, they're innocent,
fun,
No,
youth
it's
and
like-
weak. So it's a bit of it's just a bit shocking, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe maybe I just think things that aren't supposed to be funny are funny. I don't know. Because technically, if you fell down and broke your arm, that wouldn't really be funny. But if it looked funny, it would be funny.
So
I
if you
can get
watched
that.
the video and didn't know that they broke their arm, it's fun.
It's true.
I don't know. Like, what about those videos where like a guy gets like launched off of like off a boat or something, or like hits something and he gets like goes like fucking flying. Like, does that look funny to you? Or like or he hits the water?
Yes.
But then you find out after, like, oh, that guy died. Like,
Yeah, it's less funny.
yeah. See, that's my
Context
thing,
matters.
Well, something that's not as funny, I guess, as those examples is Philip coming in saying that he has news of meeting the Queen.
Oh, way to bring that back.
Yeah, that was a big
Clean
leap.
transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this scene because, like, we all go together or we don't go at all is how it
Yeah,
ends.
I mean,
I appreciated that. Like, that they've reached that level of, like, friendship with one another. Even the outsider, he understands.
I have a question for it. Anne gets up and asks, "Are we all invited?" Where everyone pauses and Philip says, "It's either all of us or none of us." Do you think he would have said that same thing if it wasn't Anne who asked that question?
I think if everyone, or like if someone else did it, I would say he'd be able to read the room. Philip comes across to me as someone who'd be able to read the room. So
Yeah, if someone else said it, Anne would have a face like, "Oh yeah, I'm
Okay.
interested in this answer as well."
yeah,
That deal. So I think so.
yeah, I think he would
If
have
she
said
wasn't in the
same
room
thing.
as a whole, then it might be a little different, maybe.
Well, she's involved either way. I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
think
if she's not there, you
I
probably
think
wouldn't have thought
PT
about
Barnum would have convinced him because at this point he still views them like they're along with him.
it. Family.
Yeah,
good choice of words at this moment,
at this
at this
moment.
time.
Not
And
only.
then we cut to England,
England.
Queen. And I think Crimson earlier you said you had a comment on Charles and the Queen.
Yeah. The queen was surprised how short he was, and he threw that back at her, and everyone went silent. And then the queen laughed. and
There was some
one
gasps.
by one, random people started laughing, and it seemed so.
Oh yeah,
fake,
because the
easy
queen laughs, so they
laughter.
all have to laugh now.
Yeah, I was amused by it.
His lack of
That's-
care and the NPCs in the background laughing. It's great.
It just goes to show that they only care about whoever is in charge thinks it's funny. They don't care about
Lackeys.
they don't care about what actually is.
About their status. If they laugh, they lose their heads. But if she laughs, they stay up of the food chain.
That's true.
That's true.
And then we get introduced to Jenny Lynn.
Lady
The
Atreides.
femme fatale.
The Siren.
Yeah. Yeah.
The swallow.
Or I forget, the Swedish Nightingale? Is that what she...
Yeah, Swedish Nightingale.
Yeah.
Who was also a real
Ooh.
person. But
True, but this is not historically
No,
accurate.
this
This is
is
very
not.
different.
Yeah.
which is in good taste for a P.T. Barnum story for it to not be accurate.
Oh, Sprinks, do you remember what the genres were for this?
Oh, shoot. I can... well, looking
It's
it
an
up
American
on its own...
biographical musical drama film.
Oh,
Why is
hang
that?
on. On its own, looking up, it's just musical drama. However, categorized under Disney Plus, where the film is, it's drama, biographical, family musical.
Biographical. They failed.
Failed. Failed.
It's not very historically accurate, as we
No,
discussed.
everybody watching this, you should go write your history reports based on this movie. You'll get an A.
Because by the end of this movie, you see Burnham. Oh, God darn it, Barnum.
Barnum.
What the hell's wrong with you
Barnum.
people?
Listen, we suffered through Star Trek Discovery. This is the pay. This is the price that we pay.
Good-willed individual that got tainted by fame. But in reality, he wasn't that good-willed of an individual.
Who is, though, really? I mean, if you're trying to make money, you're not really probably a very good person.
Wow, shots fired.
That's
Keanu Reeves.
true. It's generally, I don't know. I'm generalizing here, but, like, usually people that are really successful usually are at least, 50-50.
How many rich people do you know, Sinister?
Like 4.
And are all 4 of them douchey?
I mean, they're not, like, perfect. But yeah, it's like 50-50. Either, like, it's just the personality somebody has to have to be successful usually makes you kind of, either somewhat of a piece of shit or, like, an entirely a piece of shit. It's just how it goes. I don't make the rules. All I'm
Anyways,
saying
the way they
is the
portray
good-
him in this is not historical. That's
What? I mean, this is not accurate.
biographical.
Is this scene in England where he then refers to the oddities as sideshow novelties?
I don't.
Is this during the party?
I don't know if
No,
it's
not the party.
okay.
This is just the England discussion.
That would have been
talk
before
where-
her first performance then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the party you're commenting is at the after.
Right.
I was
Uh,
thinking that's when he brought it up. I don't know if it was brought up here.
Also, this is a part where I feel like PT slightly changes his character a bit and gets very demanding with her.
Yes. But he
You
sees his
will-
dream and he wants to
will
grab
do
it. You're the most famous singer in Europe, but what about the world?
Also, I don't. This is a very odd
Yeah.
thing, but I don't
Yeah.
know if this is just a Hugh Jackman thing. But
Okay.
he raises one of his lips higher while speaking, and it was just
What is that?
I
didn't
just kept
notice
looking
that
at it.
either.
It's like the Chewbacca lip curl look.
I think it was.
This feels like an exaggeration. I don't know. I need to look at it now.
I
Yeah,
did not notice
I
at
haven't
all.
noticed that. So
I didn't. Yeah, I never noticed anything that was like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was purposeful. I didn't know if it was accidental. I could not.
Well, how many Hugh Jackman things have you seen, and how many times has he done the exact same
how many
thing?
times has he done that as Wolverine?
You know what? That's a good question, Sinister. I've seen plenty, and this is the first notice of it that
So
comes
it
to
doesn't
mind.
sound like a Hugh
So-
Jackman problem.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a Hugh.
No. So I guess maybe it was purposeful. I don't
The
know.
director was like, "Hey,
I
listen."
mean,
can
he
you
was
do that
definitely
thing
trying
with your lip?"
to sell the idea to her. So I mean, if
Maybe it
if
was.
he felt it
maybe it's-
made him look more proper, I would buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was like something to do with like him having to do like an American accent or something. It's like
It's a possibility.
I know he
And
had
then
one in Wolverine
from-
too, but still.
From there, we go to Jenny, or unless Crimson had something.
Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi. Well, this is when Jenny asks why her, and he said he wants something real. He's done hoodwinking people or whatever. He's tired of hoodwinking people.
Which is a hoodwink on its own.
Yeah,
Humbug.
I don't know. This felt a little off to me because up to this point, it didn't feel like that was his goal.
Yeah.
Was to get higher up in like normal performances.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty complacent with his oddities at this point.
The only hint that I think we got at this was that I guess the Bennett's criticism still bothered him. I think that was the only hint really that he I guess wanted to show them something real or whatever, like he was getting tired of the oddity thing. But I don't think that's enough in of itself to kind of, because I guess I'm in agreement with Crimson here. It was definitely a bit of a jump in his character.
I agree. So it wasn't. Yeah, it was definitely a jump. It wasn't gradient at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's very charitable.
That's true. This then goes into Jenny Lin's first performance, where when Philip asks where's the, I guess, oddity's gonna go, PT just makes up an excuse like the audible. What does he say? I forget. He says like I think he says the audibles are better in standing room.
Yeah.
Like he makes up some excuse to put them in the back.
Yeah. And this is where he also refers to them as sideshow novelties. And
yes,
I thought the jump was a little quick.
And a bit too visible.
Yeah.
Also said. So it is quite the jump from what we established.
I do like Jenny's song though.
Yeah. Then we have Never Enough.
The other good song.
Yeah,
there
for
were
me.
two that I thought were standout songs, and it's the first one, the beginning of the first one.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah, and this is this is a standout song for me as well because I also thought the lyrics were very symbolic of PT Barnum. World isn't enough, and yes, I thought this song is pretty much entirely about what I'm coming to understand as PT Barnum's flaw.
Yeah.
And it's about Barnum and Carlisle and Anne's relationship as well.
Mm-hmm.
Plays with both, which I think is pretty good. And I guess the relationship between Lind and Barnum, because she said, "You set off a dream in me," and looks at Barnum with like, not like loving eyes, but just like cheerful eyes, I suppose.
Inspired.
Yeah, and we know Barnum's all about dreams, so I was like, oh well. They're gonna do something with this relationship here. We'll find out what this relationship really is later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this song really shows a bunch of relationship stuff.
Yeah, I don't think Barnum got around that much.
Yeah.
You got Jenny, Barnum, Charity, and then you got Philip and Anne.
Yeah.
Where as soon as Philip sees that someone is looking at him, which is why.
So that's someone or his parents?
That was his parents, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was his parents.
It's weird though that they would be at that. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't the circus they were at, right?
Yeah,
they were at a.
No,
yeah.
This was the high end.
Like an opera house.
Yeah.
Like an opera house or an opera house.
Yeah, and the lyrics of "These hands can hold the world," as Carlisle and Anne hold hands.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wow, whoa.
Well, lots of stuff here. Planning.
I was a little disappointed. This is just something that's a personal thing. It's not like a knock on the movie or anything, but a little disappointed. She's a famous opera singer, and they had her not sing opera.
I don't remember them saying she was an opera singer, but that just might be my memory.
No, they said opera.
Okay.
Yeah, opera. And then when they had her just singing like sung very, very well. I'm not, not saying it was bad singing at all. And I understand that opera really wouldn't fit into this, modern music, take thing. But I was just like, kind of would have liked to have been actual opera, because that is pretty impressive.
I agree.
It's also
I
very-
think that's a problem they didn't do that.
Another thing, which they've done multiple times in this movie that I like, and it's just very quick, small and quick, is Bennett's in the audience.
Yes,
Bennett's in the audience, and
Enjoying it, loving it.
so is PT's family. So
Yeah, and
the mom
until they see it, until
Yeah,
until they
Charity
see him.
looked a little concerned. when
yeah, Charity saw
Barnum
the
was
way that
looking at
Barnum
him.
was
Oh,
looking at the
shit.
singer. So I actually do like that detail.
Shit, he's got the hots for her. I know it. That's the way he looked at me. He was like,
Then we
"Oh."
go to the party.
He's going to build a dream with her now.
Yeah.
They're gonna sing on a beach.
Got another classic PT Barnum and Bennett talk. Says it's a shame that she's a good singer, but she ended up
I
with
like-
you.
I do like how he manages to like rain on anything. It's classic. And just
It
like,
was a good
Yeah, it was-
performance. It's a shame it was from you.
yeah, it was a shame that you were a part of it in some way.
Yeah.
I
Only
do
she
like
could have found a
their,
better person.
I like their personal tones they give each other. How
Mhm.
Bennett's very stoic and
Oh,
just
yeah.
straight faced, and Barnum's just smiling giddily the whole time.
Giddily.
Yeah.
Franks, I'm curious if it was just me, but Bennett really reminded me of Christian Bale's assistant in The Prestige.
Oh, that's something I was gonna touch on later.
Oh, there. But go on.
Stolen. Go ahead.
Does
since
this
it was gonna be
movie
your turn.
tickle my fancy slightly by having a 1800s Hugh Jackman portrayal that connects to the
And
Prestige
not-
in some way?
And not have Christian Bale in it.
Well, this movie does not need Christian Bale. I don't know where he would go.
You'd be Bennett, obviously.
true.
That'd be kind of cool,
Yeah.
actually.
Crimson already said that. Yeah.
Did you have more with that, Franks?
I
Oh, it's just a connection I made.
I know.
That would maybe
I-
tailor my subjective scale, but
I knew you were gonna say tickle my fancy, but I thought you were gonna say tickle my fanny for a second. I was making me laugh. Really tickled my fanny.
Really hopeful, huh?
Darn.
Seeing
I'll have to
Zac
save
Efron.
that for next time.
Yeah.
Um,
Seeing Zac Efron really tickled my fanny.
so we have, yeah. So we got the talk with Bennett, and then we have we meet Charity's parents again.
This was
And
great.
this is something that was odd to me. Do you think this is the first time they've seen their grandkids?
Based
Yeah.
off the conversation, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, to be fair, as Barnum, I wouldn't go out of the way to
Yeah.
introduce my granddaughters to introduce my children to a man who used to hit me.
Well,
So
with Barnum, no, that makes sense with Barnum. But I'm like, Charity hasn't visited her family.
Well,
She could have
doesn't
visited
like
them without the kids. But yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't really care for them that much either.
yeah, I mean, I assume that
At
she
least the
doesn't care.
dad.
I'm assuming she doesn't
Which
care for
is
them all that
weird.
much because it's the fact that she chose to go with Barnum.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though, like, she's like, yeah, don't
Don't do this here.
yeah, like don't
Yeah.
like embarrass them or something in front. It was almost like, no, they should be embarrassed. Like, they're awful people. I guess though what she was
get
trying
out.
to say was like, don't get nasty in front of like the kids. Just I don't really know, but I was like, no, I think if it was me, I would definitely.
Especially, well, it's also the dad said something nice to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's from a but he's seeing. I think it's so he's only saying that now because he's successful. He wouldn't say that otherwise,
Oh, that's
Or,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
which is a fake, which is not really a actual polite thing. It's just because technically he can't say he's not
I
successful
do.
now.
I do think the. I do think the point out. I do think the scene would have been differently if Charity's dad immediately admitted that he had stereotyped him as a kid, and that was
Yeah,
like if he owned up to it. I do think the scene would have played out differently, but because he doesn't, I think that it plays out.
To redeem him as a character, I didn't want to do that with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So
At
they.
no point in the whole film does the dad change.
no, he's a dick from the beginning and a dick at the end.
Yep. I agree with that.
And that's, you know what? It's fine though, because that's what his character's supposed to be, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be redeemed.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the scene other than I
Yeah,
thought.
but, I mean, you know, I might be just, you know, nitpick or something, but I kind of wanted to see him get like some comeuppance or some, you know, rubbed in
Well,
his face.
he lost his daughter to him a second time.
Yeah.
That's what hurt his ego a little bit.
Yeah,
Probably we didn't see it. But it probably did.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, all that fortune and still just a tailor's boy.
All that fortune and still. Yeah, I like how he's managed. You act just like a tailor's boy. That's why you'll never be rich like me.
But yeah, I like the scene. I like how Barnum indirectly was insulting him instead of directly.
Mhm.
Worked for me.
It's yeah. If you just go down and say, "Now who's got a small penis?"
And it's kind of it's actually a nice juxtaposition to compare to the conversation he just had with Bennett, where the insults just kind of rolled off of him, but you can tell that there's still like nerves from when he was a kid between him and Charity's old man.
Who didn't age.
Man.
Oh yeah, who did not age at all.
Yeah.
No, I want whatever the fuck he's having.
Evil doesn't age; it stays the same.
And the parents leave, and Lind cheers to Barnum.
Yeah, she's like she doesn't run away like that.
Yeah. Charity walks out
Charity
frustrated too, and Lynn, the singer, does save the mood of the room, I suppose.
Yes.
And
She
then
feels like a fraud too.
yeah, Barnum shuns.
She was born wedlock and didn't feel like she belonged in high society.
Yeah, and then which is a nice little tidbit for her. But I think the most damaging part of this scene is when Barnum shuns all the oddities.
Yeah.
Immediately out.
That made me feel bad.
I think it would be
But they
different
didn't take
if
it, though.
Philip was there.
Like
But-
if he was leading the group.
Yeah.
so I think
Maybe,
that would've been different.
but I don't see. I don't know if that would
wouldn't
work.
see him being ingrained enough into them yet. He wouldn't be like.
Well, Philip also stood with them during the performance. He didn't go sit down with like his folks or anything.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think they've
Well,
you know,
At
built any
this
bridges.
point in the timeline, they went to Europe and back, which writer said would have taken a couple months.
That is true.
So they've been together for a while at this point with Carlisle.
Yeah, but
To
he's
this
not
day,
like.
don't see much connection.
Also,
Yeah.
where is he?
He's
Because he's
his
not
parents, like,
or with
don't worry, I
oddities.
wasn't holding hands with that black girl.
Yeah, he's
Oh, he's talking to his
snogging
parents.
with
Yeah.
the-
He might be talking with his parents. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, racist mother and father. I'm not a unionizer.
Did you say snogging? Who said snogging?
I said
Snogging.
snogging.
Who said
Yeah.
snogging? God, you Harry Potter freak.
That's a
Um,
British thing.
That is
Yeah,
no.
that is
That is
Harry
a British thing. That isn't
No,
isolated
but
to Harry Potter.
that is no. That's not a British thing. That's a Harry Potter thing. Two
No, I
totally
know it's a
different
British thing, but no Crimson would probably get it from Harry Potter.
Fair enough.
No, I told him that.
I love my British films. Punk.
I love me British.
Got me. Ooh. So yeah, he turns the oddities away, and this goes into the next number. This is me.
I'm not a stranger
This
to
is
the
me.
dog.
I'm not a man, just a bark.
Once again, this one is a song that I felt really should have been stronger and stood on its own. But the problem is it just rolls. It just rolls in with the rest. I do like the lyrics, but the problem is it just sounds like the rest. It's a song that because of what it is, it's about personal identity. I do think that this should have been stronger on its own.
The lyrics are good. It's just just the music doesn't really separate it from anything else we've heard so far.
Yeah, but this goes into them doing their show together by themselves for the first time, like without PT there.
Without a ringleader. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes off terrible. It's just terrible. No.
With them walking through the party.
And they're walking
During the
through the party, and
event.
everyone's like, "Oh
Oh my god!
God!"
I had no idea they were here.
Good heavens! Somebody get a drain clog.
And then they all,
Someone
as they're
get a
leaving, they
squeegee from
break
her
into like a
eyeballs.
march.
Yeah, and they go through the crowd cheering at him, and
So are they singing in real life?
yeah, that's why everybody's like, "Shut up, you slags!"
Yeah, there's so many protesters now.
Stop your
there's
singing!
It's like it's starting to get. Has anybody here seen Suburbicon?
No.
Nope.
Rubicon, I have not.
It's a Coen Brothers movie, but like, it's like set in the 60s or 50s, I think, and there's an African American family moves into this all white neighborhood, and they just slowly start like creating like a mob or whatever to like, and it just gets like more and more in each scene with like the family until finally it's just like, and the entire street is just covered with people with like signs and everything, and like they won't step on the lawn until
Mm-hmm.
that's what reminded me of it, that as the movie was progressing, the mobs were getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, precisely. Until the climax, where there's only a couple
We're not
people.
there yet. Stop
Oh.
jumping around.
So we
sorry.
found, we see that Philip is actually here now. He's up in the, I guess, the office. A little Rugrats reference. Lillian. Which, again, Crimson, I don't know. I can't tell if they're talking to each other or the singing or not, because Anne like looks at Philip, which is basically saying, "This is who I am." So I guess it's.
You skipped it.
a
You
f-
skipped another thing.
I skipped another thing. What was the thing I
You
skipped?
skipped they go to the theater.
With the protesters outside?
No, like he's like, oh, because Barnum's like, I gotta go out on a tour. You're in charge, Philip. And then the freaks or the oddities tell him, oh, aren't you late for something, Philip? And he's like, oh my god. And then she's asking for the tickets to the theater that were left for her.
Oh, that's later. Yeah.
Huh?
That's
What?
after. That's
No.
after.
No,
the song.
she's talking about in the
Oh,
song.
the song.
Anne looks explicitly
In the song.
at Zac
Oh,
Efron.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zoe
I
Zendaya
was
looks
confused.
explicitly at Philip and says, "This is me"
Yeah.
in the song.
And he cries.
Well, he does not look happy.
He cries a tear coming down his face. But he doesn't. His mouth doesn't move at all.
Before I give my opinion of what I thought, I'd like to know from the three of you, what did you think of the part where the bearded lady turns around and everyone's in slow motion? And she's like the only one in
Odd.
normal timing.
It was odd. Like that to me was
an odd choice.
it was an odd choice.
It felt like a shampoo commercial.
Oh.
This is what a 5 gum is like.
Yeah,
Choice shampoo commercial.
yeah. If it had happened at other points in the movie, it would have been fine. But this is like the only time it happened, so it just kind of feels weird.
Yeah.
I think this is the only time it happened very dramatically. And seeing earlier in A Million Dreams, like when Charity puts the blanket down in the apartment, that's kind of slow mode.
That's
Or
not
during the
same thing,
clapping.
though.
No, it's. I'm just going with like the slow mo thing, and then when they're clapping for Jenny Lynn after her
But
song, it's still a
the
little
difference-
slow mode.
The difference, though, is that can be slow motion, but everybody else is moving at the same motion. Not
Yeah,
one
this
person
one's
isn't. Yeah,
still.
I
yeah.
am gonna jump in and actually make a comparison to Encanto, which is one of my musicals that I really like. It's an animated movie, so it gets away with the. I think you can get away, and you can get away with an animated movie with someone like being normal
realism
speed,
connection.
with someone being in normal speed, and like everyone else in slow mo. I think you can get away with it more in animation for sure. Because here it feels cartoonish. I don't know if that's. I don't think that's what they wanted to feel when you have actual actors playing them. So it does throw me out.
I mean, all I get is that this is an X-Men movie because the
Oh,
bearded
Quicksilver,
lady
got it.
isn't a descendant to Quicksilver, and we got Wolverine here. So I think
Yeah.
this is a canon
What connection?
X-Men. Yeah,
What?
this is
What?
canon.
Also, I realized
It's also made by 20th Century, so
in this song, I see one of the oddities more clearly now, which
That the rain
stands
is
out
gone?
as what an oddity. I don't know how much
Okay.
detail you guys saw on the three-legged man.
I didn't see that.
A three-legged man.
It's
I saw an albino.
I saw
Well,
the
yeah,
conjoined twins.
the conjoined twins and albino are more present, but the three-legged man it's just a guy with like what I'm sure is what they did of a stuffed leg attached to his waist.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because the
that
third
was
leg is not
probably
touching the
Barnum
ground at all.
doing that.
That was a bit off-putting to me of the oddity.
It was Barnum fabricating an oddity. It's like the,
Could be.
Batman.
Then it's just a normal dude with a fake leg.
I mean,
Could be.
that's not the weirdest thing that's ever happened.
True.
Well, at least we
I
know.
just
At
like
least we
that
know who
that
the,
was
at least
that-
we know who the model for the Isle of Man flag is. So
Yeah, I just like that was the thing that this was took you off guard was the guy with 3 legs.
He had
Dog
more of
face
a-
boy.
He just had more of a presence to stand out to me. Is all.
More of a
Stand.
presence to stand out. Not the Irish giant, not the,
No, I think it's because earlier on we've seen those. They've had their own like kind of talking points, especially during like the interview scenes. But this guy is new. I mean,
But this
I'm sure he's been there the whole
This
time in
dude-
the group. But this three-legged guy stood out to me because he was kind of in the front of the crowd during the musical number.
took out his leg and he shook it at you.
I will say though, I think it's better that they went with the practical approach than making a CGI leg on him.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
would
I
have been
mean, yeah, that would have been really bizarre.
Crimson, you were asking something?
Oh, yeah, you didn't really give your view on the solo. Did you?
I wanted to know yours, so mine wouldn't affect it. I thought it was not needed. It was very jarring. I think if there was
we're on
more
the same
of it, I think if it was more of it
Could've
throughout,
been-
I
we could've
think it
been
would have just
eased
been
into it.
okay.
Yeah.
I think it would have been okay. But the fact that this is like the only time it's ever used in this way, very off-putting. It works. It's just takes me out of the moment of the number.
Yeah, because it just, I mean, it's supposed to be magical, but it's like, yeah, but it's supposed to be like a biography, so this is kind of a little too weird. So what happens next? Does Andy get a new toy?
Well,
Or-
next, it's the end of the it's the end of the song, and then PT decides to go on tour with Jenny Lind and is giving all the information to Philip.
Yes,
So
and
it's
it's
like,
it's
what?
important to
You're
note
not-
that he is not making any profits until the 41st stop in the tour.
Well, yeah, Philip
Yeah.
first says 40th stop, he says, nope,
What a
actually,
gamble.
41st. Yeah.
Want a 60-piece orchestra? Make sure they're cheap.
Make sure they have wives, too, so we get some of them are married.
And I think it works because Philip is only 10% as agreed upon. That's why PT is very much not really listening to his
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he still
I mean,
owns.
even if it was a higher percentage, I don't think he would either. Because he's just
Well, I mean-
clouded by his ambition.
Yeah, connected to the end of the movie. Then again, PT's kind of learned his lesson after all, but of the event and experience. But what he does with Philip at the end of deciding
the
where they
line.
are at, I think he would have definitely been a lot more attentive of what he was saying.
I think post end, yeah, but at this point,
At this
even
point,
if Philip
no.
was 50%, I still don't think he would.
I think the only two people.
I think Philip would point out, "Hey, I'm half the business. I need to have equal say," and then there'd be a talk from that.
I think the
But
only two people
That's pretty much it.
PT at this point would actually listen to is Jenny and Charity. That's probably it.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, there's really not, I mean, because he's pretty much the driving force of the movie. There's really not anyone he, refers to.
And Barnum leaves, and Philip goes downstairs, and the oddities were like, "Wow, I didn't even say hi or goodbye or something
Yeah.
along those
What
lines."
do we, chop liver?
That's exactly what kind of happened.
Yeah, and then, they were kind enough to remind him of his date.
Yeah, his date, which is a bit odd that Anne would go to this knowing that it's just for her.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because when she arrives, she only thinks there's one ticket for her to this performance.
It's like, oh, I like how though she's like super apologetic to the guy. Like, I'm sorry, there's only supposed to be one.
I'm okay with it. I mean, like as she says, she's wanted to go to the theater her whole life to see a play. So I think she would do that, go by herself if she could.
Yeah, I'm not against her going by herself, but yeah.
I just thought it was a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
But then she goes with Philip, and
well, she doesn't go.
Of course, Philip's parents are there.
Yeah, okay, that part.
What are the odds?
Yeah, what are the odds?
I also want to point out that they're leaving the theater.
Yeah.
The previous performance is wrapped up.
Also, beforehand, there's, I think, like 3 couples on the stairs to their left, going up the stairs, and then it goes to Philip and Anne again.
Continuity error.
Oh, I think, unless one of those couples is the parents, which in that case they would be going up into the theater, they just appear.
Could they have come from the right side?
They've come from the rear?
I don't think the right side, because there's a railing.
Yeah, I thought they were on the other side of the railing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the other side of the railing, yeah.
But all these couples are walking upward, so I guess if they're from the back, I guess if they are one of the couples going up into the theater, then that would work. But Ryder, if you said you saw them coming down, then I don't know how that works.
What are we talking about anymore?
Where the parents came from.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just get to see this whole scene again. Apparently, from you guys, I misunderstood the whole Zendaya part at the beginning of this. Now there's a continuity error I missed.
A possible continuity error.
Possible. I don't know. It's not that bad. It's not even that bad, even if it does actually happen.
No, it doesn't break anything really. And then Philip actually talks to his parents like, this is my dream now that
I'm gay for PT Barnum.
This is Anne. I'm happy. Love me.
This is Anne.
I believe he says, if this is my place, I don't want any part of it.
No, son. You're not happy.
Yeah.
You
Come back to drink room temperature gin with us.
And then he chases after Anne, and we go into the next musical number, Rewrite the Stars.
Yeah, would you do
so
that?
This is obviously Crimson's favorite musical number, right?
Oh!
It is?
It's
probably my second favorite.
Words in the mouth of the Red Boy?
No, I was poking fun at him. So.
I love getting made fun of. Yeah, second favorite dance.
Give it to him.
As I said, the roof one in the beginning.
Yeah,
was my favorite.
I do like the choreography for this dance a lot.
Very good. I wonder how much of it is Zendaya and how much of it is stunt double.
I don't know if the weights of the sandbags is practical.
No, it makes no sense at all.
No, it's not. I like that they're.
Don't worry about that.
I like that they're playing around essentially with what is a noose.
Oh, that's a thought I didn't make.
What?
They're playing
a rope was like a noose.
At least at first it did.
No, that's just like a.
No, I need to hear the symbolism. What's behind this?
No, I don't think there's symbolism. I just thought it was odd, but I assumed it was. It looked like a noose at first, and obviously I just assumed that it was a hand-holding rope. It was just. I just thought it was funny that I thought it was a noose at first.
Yeah. To the.
So at a glance, you just thought it was a noose in the middle of the room.
Pretty much. How crazy that would be if she just picked up a noose.
She's like, we can't be together.
No.
Most people don't know this, but actually, in most circuses, there was a noose just right in the middle of the ring, just hanging there.
Interesting.
Yeah. In case a clown wanted to kill himself.
Yeah. So this song's about, I guess, forbidden love. Like forbidden. I don't know if that's the best way.
They want to rewrite the
but-
stars.
They don't think they can, or at least Zendaya doesn't think they can be together, and Philip thinks they can. It's a whole back and forth.
Mhm.
And they're both wrong.
Yeah. One shot I do like in this is when Anne is on the circle and is going up, and Philip's hanging onto it, going upwards, and it's a shot from the ground.
Mm.
It reminds me of those shots of when someone's underwater trying to breach the surface.
Mhm.
And they drown.
Yeah, they hit the ice up top, knock themselves out.
It just looked like that to me.
How many times has that happened in real life?
Probably once.
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
There's got to be some guy who went swimming, dove straight up, bonked their head on ice, and knocked themselves out and drowned. But
That's the way to
anyways,
go.
we
Welcome
somehow
to
got
the
that point of the
human
scene.
race. Sorry.
I don't know. Got to
Life sure
drowning.
is a human race.
Ah.
Ah,
Yeah.
Just a lot of rope dancing.
what's
Lot
our
of rope
dancing?
dancing.
More referencing
Lot of
the
s-
stars. I guess this is probably the time.
It's a whole the whole numbers about stars.
And
Yeah.
Lars.
This is about stars. The
Stars on Lars.
the Lind song reference
Where's
stars.
where's the Sneetches who live on the beaches?
Oh
Who
yeah.
have Stars on their bellies.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh.
So I guess some
There
parallels I
wasn't
have was-
rhyming in the musical number for Dr. Seuss stuff to pop up.
You can just make it up. That's what he did.
I love stars and snars.
Stars on Lars.
Yeah.
And
But-
the number eventually. Oh, sorry, Crimson.
Yeah. The previous song, "Stars Aren't Enough," or not previous, but earlier. I connected that to the Wish machine, where it's kind of like a starry
Big.
nightlight.
Mhm.
The Wish Machine from Big.
No.
Oh.
Don't say
Oh,
that.
Zoltar.
No,
Well,
from
he just said Wish Machine, and he didn't say anything else. So I was trying to figure.
the Wish machine
Big.
from earlier that he made for the birthday.
Oh, that's not a Wish Machine.
He called it a
Called
Wish
it a
machine.
wish machine.
Yeah.
I know, but it's not a Wish.
But
it's
it's like a starry nightlight.
Yeah.
And so the stars aren't enough. The Wish machine shows stars, so maybe his dream's not enough. Connecting it there, he needs more than his family and his dreams at this point. I know I'm grasping at straws here with symbolism. This is usually Sprinks' job.
Oh.
Oh, sure. I'll just sit in a corner and pretend I don't exist.
No, I don't know. I don't know if anyone else connected all this star stuff.
I do
No,
think there's a lot
I
of star
didn't.
imagery. I just connected it with that PT Burnham dreams big, and he's teaching others to do the same.
I would
And if
love it if
you-
we could do Bo Burnham's inside.
What?
and we just
What did I
call
say?
him-
What?
You said Burnham.
God damn it.
You've been saying, we've all been saying Burnham this whole fucking time, except for me.
Barnum. Shit. You know what I meant.
I know, but it's every time you say it, I think of Bo
Just go
Burnham.
PT.
and but you're
PT's
talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation or whatever.
Discovery.
Whatever. Nerds.
Yeah, we can start saying aren't enough, which Philip and Anne had their whole hand holding and stuff. Now we got rewriting the stars. So there's not enough
Stars.
stars, but they got to rewrite them.
Yeah.
Well,
Make your own fate. Weave your own
Make your
destiny.
mind up, writers, please.
yeah, are there not enough, or do you need to remake the ones that are present? Come on.
Well, I think it depends on the characters that they're.
Well, I mean, the
Both
the
the
writers have
songs
given us
connect,
their answer, Crimson. I mean, let's think about how many franchises have been rewritten in modern day.
Wow.
That's impossible.
It's impossible. All right, I'm done with
That's-
stars.
So the song essentially ends with
Them hanging
and-
themselves, yeah.
well, and still saying, even though they seemed pretty close in the good middle chunk of the number, and saying like it won't work, pretty much, and walks out.
Like,
And then we go to PT packing his bags,
Yeah,
pretty
his wife-
much somewhat
wife,
saying
yeah.
bye to charity.
Yeah.
He's about to go on tour.
He just kind of turns into a big dick at this point,
completely ignored his daughters. By the way, that
Yeah.
bothered me a lot.
He's got a red-headed woman in the car with him. Come on.
One more thing I forgot to mention in the previous scene.
You don't get to say it, then you forgot to mention it.
Carlisle can now perform with the rope. Is he now a trapeze artist?
Yeah, that was his act.
He had none, but now he can do it.
That's his act now.
I don't think he was really performing with it. He was just holding on to it.
That was a professional. What are you talking about?
To use your own nitpick against, he's been with the company for quite this point.
That is also true. I think he knows how it works.
Just because you're at a circus doesn't mean you know how to juggle.
That does track though. Usually people
Coming
that
from
work
you,
in a
Crimson,
circus-
who knows how to juggle and never been a part of a circus. That's
I've been to a circus and I don't know how to juggle.
Validates
So.
my point. But
who's the fraud now?
I mean, who's the fraud now?
I'm in an MCU movie. That means I know how to make CGI.
Oh.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's just an exaggeration of the. Like, it's perfectly logical to think that, hey, I work at a circus, so I'm probably going to pick up some circus things at some point. You cannot, but I feel like that's like the whole reason of going to a circus. Like, if you're working at a circus, obviously, if I worked in any business, I would pick up skills that I wouldn't otherwise have if I worked in a different business.
But you'd have to practice those things. You don't just become an expert at lion taming because you saw someone.
I don't
think
think
it makes sense that he would be an expert. I'm just saying he would have picked something up.
I don't
it's
think
not executed.
Yeah, I don't remember the scene all that well because I was mostly note taking at the time. I don't think he does anything all that complicated compared to Anne. Am I missing something?
I don't remember.
He
this
knows
scene.
how to counterbalance the sandbag. He flies around with her. There's a point where they have two different ropes at the same time. So he definitely pulls his weight in performance in this.
Okay, I'll just have to accept it because I missed some of that.
I've seen professional rope work done, and I know that Zac Efron in this movie, he professional stuff. Okay, it's not possible unless you're a professional.
So to the part of PT leaving on tour, I didn't notice before, but this scene really showed me another color choice, which was interesting. At the party, PT is in a tuxedo looking outfit, and Charity and the kids are in like pinks and blues.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in this scene, when he's leaving, he's in a dark suit, and they are again in pink, blues, and like a purple, which shows to me that because of Jenny Lind coming into PT's life, he is distancing himself and not being a part of his family. And I think that was a connection that could have been made. It's a separation. He's trying to separate himself from the unclass, the unprofessional.
Yeah. I don't think he does it intentionally. I think it's just a result of his actions.
Yeah.
Also, I think the cart, the horse-drawn carriage is just slow because his daughters chase it all the way down the road.
No,
they're fast.
That tracks. That makes carriages didn't really go that fast when you aren't trying.
That's why it took
you have to pay for the horse.
Yeah.
And
so
then
that made sense to me. I saw that it directly paralleled when Charity left as a kid.
Oh.
But this time it was Barnum leaving them behind.
Mm-hmm.
And this starts going into the next number of Tightrope.
Up on the tightrope wire.
Yeah. This is broken record. The song also kind of just blends with the others for me.
I don't know if it's this song, but there is a part of the choreography that I like where with Charity and Hugh dancing in the hallway.
Oh, in the hallway?
With the shadows.
With the shadows, and then he disappears. That's probably my favorite part of this song.
I was confused for a second. I thought he was dancing with Jenny, and then
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I thought it was Jenny too, and then I realized it was Charity, and I thought, oh, that was good. That hurts a little bit.
I think it's interesting to show this is a song number that has 3 different storylines going on. And something that there was a little connection to was during the ballet recital, there's an empty chair next to Charity.
Yep.
Which I presume was there for PT if he was in attendance. And then when we're at the dinner table, there's another chair without him.
Mm-hmm.
Another chair, itty.
Yeah. And then we have Philip pretty much leadering the circus.
Yeah.
Mr. Philip Carlisle.
I saw that there was an open seat at the recital, and I didn't know why, because they knew he wasn't going to be there. It's an epic.
I'm assuming it's honestly just literally there just to show us with symbolism that he's not there.
I think a good connection I did like is the parallel of the hecklers throwing peanuts and booing
To the
because
flowers.
essentially, yeah, to the flowers with Jenny Lynn, and the clapping, which kind of just makes me think of like the magic or the dream or whatever is connected to PT and where PT is.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure hecklers would still be there, of course, if PT
Well,
was in the
because
circus,
everybody. Well, that's what Philip said before PT left. He was like, they come here for you, not for the
True.
spectacle.
So I like the connection between those two being back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like.
And then there's it was towards the end, there's another transition. I think it was right after the dancing in the hallway part, when Charity looks out a window and the window transitions into Jenny.
Yeah, nice.
Yep.
Which reminds me of earlier in the movie when during A Million Dreams, when Charity's sitting with the letter and it goes to PT.
Okay.
Because it's kind of the same window transition look.
Yeah.
The same.
And then she comes on to him.
Yeah, then she becomes a temptress.
A temptress. A fiery temptress.
Yeah, I did not like Lind very much in this film. I felt
Well,
like
you're not supposed
we
to.
didn't. I'm not just saying because the scene. There wasn't enough of her. I think in this.
And
Yeah.
I was just gonna say with Ryder, what you said earlier about the big room thing, they kind of do it again
Mm-hmm.
in this scene where they're in Cincinnati, I think, where it's a huge grand room.
And they feel very small and isolated in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lind just felt underutilized in this because she plays a pretty big part in this, but we don't get much of her in this. We get her first performance, her hitting on Barnum, and we get snippets of her performance being successful. And I feel like they're trying to make this an impactful scene here, and I wasn't feeling it personally. I don't
You
know.
weren't feeling like he was going to get some
I
of that.
think, like, she was attracted to the dream that PT has, but I like that when Barnum realized that she was coming on to him, he kind of snapped him out of at least a little bit of what's been
Definitely
happening.
tempted looking at him.
Oh yeah, but he still snapped himself out of it once he realized what that line was approaching.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I do agree. I think some more of Lind would have made this scene more impactful. Even though I know we're transitioning very quickly through like months of tour, so they have been spending lots of time together. I still think some of that should have been on screen.
Because all we really got was her leaning her head on him while in a carriage asleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Right? That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it.
There's a line in the scene that I liked that I wrote down. Jenny said, "When you're careless with other people, Mr. Barnum, you bring ruin upon yourself."
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
that's
I think
the
is-
moral of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
there
knew
we
he was
have the
married
theme.
too.
Yeah.
And then she has a very strict like cutoff. Like, oh, I'm done. Like, if you're gonna treat me like that,
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
like, I guess it was a power move.
Yes, but
Which-
like she knew he was married, so
You don't want to stuff the turkey? Get out of here.
That's true. Wow, Crimson, what a remark.
Jesus.
Wow.
I've done a lot of these lately.
I was gonna say a sinister thing, but then I said no. I'll just say it and run up to it. So I did, and I brought it
Yeah.
up. So
Thanks.
double whammy.
I don't necessarily call this next part a song. It's the Never Enough reprise,
yeah.
where
That's
she's
song.
essentially crying throughout
Yeah.
the number.
Well
Uh,
acted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well acted. I like both.
Indeed.
I like both renditions, the heartbroken one and the dream hopeful one, because they're both
I-
very poignant about PT's character.
Yeah, I think I like that they're the exact same lyrics, but because of the tone, they mean two different things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great way to show that you can do two things with one thing.
And then she calls Barnum over to bow and everything, and then gives good solid goodbye
Kisses him.
kiss.
Yeah, good solid goodbye kiss.
Yeah, and
Because of the whole photo op thing, I knew that was going to
I-
come back. I'm just like,
yeah.
I just rolled
I
my
wrote-
eyes. I'm
yeah.
like, great.
photo equals
Yeah.
drama equals
Writer,
lazy
thank you
for
for
me.
photo. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna bring this up later. Photo. It was taken
Photo,
as
but
a
it's a
photo.
drawing in the paper.
All right, well, Sinister
You
went
took
with
it away
Yeah.
from
Yeah, wow. That was
Yoinked.
something I definitely noted.
Well, because
Yeah.
they didn't have printing, like they couldn't print a photo, so they had to
Yeah.
have somebody draw it and then put it in the. Technically, there was a photo of it somewhere.
But yeah,
True.
it needed to be
Yeah.
traced, I guess, to be mass
Yeah.
produced.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
That's exactly. You know exactly
and-
how it worked back then. Now you're a historian.
And next up,
Yeah.
we'll go to the circus with the hecklers.
The
Yeah,
hecklers.
boy.
The,
They've had
this
enough.
is
Who
our
are these?
city.
Very
Get outta here.
grade, very grade outfits versus all these colorful,
They look like
flamboyant
freaking.
ones.
They look like grown-up versions of like Victorian like scab children or something. It's
I was actually gonna say they reminded me of the Corellas villains. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, from 101
Oh, is that
Dalmatians.
her henchmen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
That's a
they
good
reminded me.
To me, they look like out of work newsies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like 40 years old. Well,
I
actually,
mean-
no, they're only like 18, but they look 40 because of hard work. But
Had I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I probably would have referenced them. the,
Oh.
the gangs in that.
the gangs of New
No, they were
York.
more colorful.
That's
And
true.
then the
Well, yeah.
bearded lady leads a charge.
Yeah.
And
Where's the Bobbies? Actually, no, they're in New York right now. Never mind.
Yeah,
Where's the
they're-
police?
yeah,
That was something that This is a nitpick, probably, but just for the times, I'm saying, a bunch of colored people beat up white people. I think they would be in jail, if not probably killed. Just saying.
Well, there's a
not-
reason why that noose was in the middle of the.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm not saying I wanted that to happen. I'm in the times. I feel like
Well,
there would have been a heavier
This is more
punishment.
reason for what I brought up earlier. Actually, I don't think that was.
if they're
fucking
if
right.
they're committing to
Um,
realism, I would have agreed, because this is not a period piece by any stretch.
No, I know that that's not what they're going for at all, which I'm fine with, because I feel like that would kind of not necessarily muddle this, I guess, in some way. But I was just like, oh my god, he like when Anne's brother punched that guy. I was like, oh my god, I really hope what I think is gonna happen doesn't happen,
And it doesn't.
and it doesn't, which is
So there you go.
good. Yeah, it's fine.
Everyone
Uh,
makes it out.
In I guess question for you, Sinister, is Zac Efron's character enough to prevent that, seeing as he's also a not an oddity? Would he
What do
be
you mean,
enough?
like-
I'm asking, like, would he be
Don't define.
enough? if we were
Would it
to
be enough
if
what?
we were going to go down the realism route and saying they would
Oh,
all be in jail and stuff like that, would this guy that's essentially their ringmaster who got punched
As a
first, mind
sympathizer?
you, would he
Yeah,
go
I
in as a
think
sympathizer,
it's-
or would he be enough to prevent them from being outright imprisoned?
well, he does have connections, but I think by this point he's kind of severed those connections, so it probably wouldn't. I don't know. That would be an interesting. See, that would be an interesting route to go in. But
yeah, I'm just asking questions. So cool.
yeah, no, I probably have been. He probably would have been like had to use some sort of thing to get it out. But yeah, either way, it's fine.
There was also a Wilhelm scream during the
There
fight.
was.
Yes, it was. Every time I hear the Wilhelm scream, a smirk comes to my face.
That's when
yeah.
the giant threw the guy through
Yeah.
the board, or not board. It was just the paper
Something.
mesh. Yeah, to the back.
He
I
lit
think
the whole
it's
place on fire.
interesting that the tattoo man threw a Superman punch.
Oh yeah, he threw the superhero punch. That was I was hilarious. I must have died of laughter.
Died of
Why are you here? You're not. You can't be here. Then you're a ghost.
Yeah,
You've
it
been
was.
talking to a ghost for 3 hours.
That was definitely that's a subjective thing. I like the Superman punch. It amuses me.
And then the circus gets set ablaze by a lantern,
Yes.
or the lantern, I guess. But yeah.
One lantern. It was all built out of straw and wood.
And I wrote down what a convenient plot connection, I guess, that PT arrived back home the
Yeah,
day
that's a little.
Wow,
the
come
circus
on.
starts burning.
Yeah, that's very convenient.
It wasn't before or after.
You sure?
I guess this is a good time to bring it up. Probably my biggest gripe about this movie is this whole ending doesn't feel satisfying because it doesn't feel like it built up to it to me. Like this built up to be like something Barnum was going to do would ruin everything,
Mm-hmm.
but the only thing he did to screw up anything, other than just using all of his money in this traveling bet, I guess, is him not making advances towards Lind, and that just closes that end of the chapter. But the actual circus part / museum, it didn't feel like it was getting built up to this. Sure, there were protesters throughout this whole film, but that didn't feel like that was going to be the main conflict in this. So, I personally didn't feel satisfied by this whole climax. What about you guys?
I would agree.
I would agree. I think what would have, as a writer, I guess my suggestion to any would-be writers out there would be, I think you should have made the protesters more characters. Like they should have had a stronger presence. Like as in,
They should have shown him like trying to sabotage or something at some point,
then
or be an active problem instead of just something in the background.
yeah, if that had been more prevalent, I think that the payoff here of the fighting ultimately resulting in the circus burning down, I think that would have been at least made it stronger a little bit.
It's a hard one.
Crimson, I'm kind of with you. It's mostly because this movie's very jumpy, and as I said
Yeah.
earlier, I think it would have been a stronger film if they had more time of the film to flesh out and strengthen more of the characters, because I think all these characters is a bit of a weakness to it,
Yeah.
because they don't really focus on many of them, or give them as much time, like you said with Jenny Lynn.
Yeah. Like the oddities are all
So-
lumped into being one character. I just refer to them as a group because of that.
Yeah, you kind of have Anne, Bearded Lady, and the rest. Well, I guess Charles.
And the
Charles
rest.
from the beginning, but
Even Anne, it barely counts as a character to me. So we don't really know anything of her as a
I think-
character, other than she's a love interest.
And that she's always wanted to see a
it's-
play.
yeah,
Yeah.
something interesting. It's subtle, but it's always kind of currently there. Which is if they had more time, I think they would have touched on it more. But anytime there's something up with Anne and Philip's around, Anne's brother immediately is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like from earlier, he's like staring down Philip. when he sees Anne walk away, and then when Bearded Lady tells Philip, "Is he going to be late?" He wakes up like from his cot, or like gets up. So he's like there as well. This time, Philip runs in and he tries running in to get his sister, and they hold him back. So he's definitely protective of Anne. It's just very small, shortly shown.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
very
again,
subtle characterization. I'll give it that.
I guess again the other biggest problem. There's a lot of characters in this, and I think if they were to like go into depth with it, it would be like way over a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to go in depth on the ensemble cast, they needed at least an extra half hour to give us something.
Yeah.
But I would say probably right, Sinister, in that it would probably drag out the time a little bit more.
Which, I mean, granted, because of how fast this went by, and it's only like an hour and like 45 minutes with, like 10 minutes of credits, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They probably could have done it, and it wouldn't have been too bad. But, it's, again, whenever you're making a movie, you kind of don't want to risk,
Yeah.
alienation of an audience or whatever. So I think, I don't know. It's a hard one where they could have done more.
There's definitely a world where it could have been done better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So Philip runs into the fire to get Anne, who he believes is inside, and then Anne runs out and is actually totally fine. So Philip's in there looking for no
I
one.
like that juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's I wanted to. I was kind of torn because I'm like, I don't like that could have resulted in something, but now I just feel bad for Philip having run in like unknowingly. But I do like PT's reaction once he realizes.
Well, I think it's interesting that he does realize that, and then he's looking at Charity and his daughters.
Yeah, he's like,
He goes, I gotta get him.
I like that. I like that.
Set a good example.
Yeah, I like that in the surface level of like he's, it's his responsibility and he needs to, because he's the one that brought him here. He brought all of them here, so he's owning up to that in a sense. So I do think him looking at his family is more of like, well, in case I don't see them, I'm gonna get a nice look at them right now, kind of thing.
I want to get a nice look at my wife.
Yeah. And then he says,
and I'll also throw out there that the animals still look bad. They did. They didn't get better.
I don't know why they're still around.
The elephant looks okay. Yeah, the elephant looks okay.
But it doesn't need to be there.
No, it does. It has to be there.
I can't. At the beginning of the building burning, it shows a horse running, like kind of towards the camera and around.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a CGI horse or is that a real horse?
I feel that was the most, because the lighting was really dark. I think they could get away with it if it was either, or the lighting was different.
Which scene are you talking about? Which scene?
Right before when the fire, I guess, department's coming around the corner to show the burning building, a horse is running towards the camera.
I don't remember it enough to give it an answer.
It could be a real horse. It could be a CGI horse. So then Philip is now in the medical wing. I didn't write hospital because it does not look like a hospital.
And back then, definitely could have been.
Yeah,
So
I would call it a hospital. Yeah.
And in my notes I said, Philip looks like he just went toe-to-toe with the Green Goblin from Spider-Man 1.
That's funny. I didn't get that one.
He didn't use the skeleton grenade.
Yeah, and he didn't have to deal with obnoxious laughter. So.
That's true. And then PT talks to Bennett yet again.
Yeah. Yep. Good one. I'll let Ryder spearhead this one.
Oh, all right. So Bennett, essentially, like, Barnum is done pretty much. Like, he's got the rubble like behind him. He's sitting on the footsteps, and Bennett approaches, and he's like, "Huh, have you come to gloat?" kind of, mockingly, because that's what their relationship has been. They've been sparring at each other, and I unfortunately don't have any of the direct quotes written down, but I would say Bennett kind of just he gets real with him, he was like he says he would never call the circus art or what Barnum does art, but he would still call it a celebration of humanity, because he admits that you put people of all sizes, shapes, and colors all together, and there is still something respectable about that. And I think, to me, this is right here pretty much encompassed what the theme of the movie is trying to go for, or at least one of them. And this pretty much solidified this scene as Bennett as my favorite character. Shocker.
And they share a nice drink together.
And they share a drink together. Yeah.
Out of flasks.
And then we see the scandal in the newspaper.
Yeah, the newspaper.
Oh,
the
you
drawing
haven't
that
seen.
Oh yeah.
Jenny Lynn-
Oh yeah. He asks if he's going to rebuild, and that's what leads to the newspaper.
Yeah. Oh, we've got money from the whole Jenny thing or whatever. That'll be thing. Oh, you haven't heard.
Yeah.
Barnum, everything goes wrong for him here.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
He runs to Charity, and Charity's leaving.
Yeah.
By
Time
force.
to go back home, prove her father right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do like that. I was worried that they would turn the whole affair into drama, but she kind of just brushes it aside. It's like, of course you didn't love her. You're in love with the dream.
Anyone.
Yeah, you're in love with
you.
yeah,
You're in love with fame.
yeah. So
Why would you do this?
And again, that's another shot, that big open building, and he's, very small, but as soon as she closes that door, it goes dark.
yep.
Yeah.
So then PT's at his bar.
At his bar, and then a little door opens up, and it's all
A little door. I thought it was a normal door.
Normal door,
A little guy comes in from a big door.
and
Says,
Charles comes in. And
He's
I
like-
don't think PT's hat is sturdy enough to support his weight.
No, it is not. That is.
That is a fake hat.
And then after he comes in, so do all the rest of the oddities.
Which I think is nice that Charles was the first, because
He was the
that's
first.
pretty
Charles
much
was
the
the
first.
first.
Yeah, he was the first.
Yes, indeed.
And we get a musical number.
From
My
now on.
least favorite one.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this one either.
It
Yeah.
was tone deaf. It wasn't very catchy. The beat while they were dancing was good, but the actual vocals were not catchy. Just very generic.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with both those assessments, and it's a shame because this once again is more. Also, I think the fault of the writing. Like, if the oddities were a character, I think this scene alone already would have been more impactful. Like if all of them had a little more flesh to them, this would have been already a little bit more impactful. But the song in of itself does, unfortunately, is just feels like a generic, happy time musical number.
Something I found slightly odd. I know he's been in this bar multiple times, saying, but the wall of photos is now his life.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
So I
okay,
don't know if it's a
that's
deal.
I'm
PT
fine with that because I don't know. If
PT
it's,
Bar.
I don't think it's PT
None?
Bar, but like, I mean, John. Let's give an example. My Jamba Juice, when in an area where I grew up, had photos of me and my dad because we were frequent visitors. Like we came there at least every other day almost. So we knew everyone by name. So and then they put photos of their frequent patrons on the wall who like love to come in. So already I'm okay with them like putting his life up because he's someone who's famous. He's a local famous person, and that's kind of what you do, especially if you have like someone famous come into your bar. Essentially, like Tolkien and
C.S. Lewis.
C.S. Lewis. Their pub in London has a picture of them in it, obviously, because they're famous. and obviously they don't go there anymore. But it's kind of a tradition thing, so I'm okay with that.
It's kind of like restaurants where like a celebrity chef comes there to try their food. They put a picture of them on the walls to show that they were there.
So yeah,
I'm fine with it. The local celebrity getting representation on the walls. That's
So then PT comes to his senses and leaves all the oddities dancing in a bar where I can't tell if the barkeep's even there, as he chases down a train.
an ugly looking scene.
And another
That
CGI
ugly
train.
train.
Ugly. I look so fake.
ugly.
I could do better.
Oh, I could have done
I'd
it.
like to see you try.
Pay me. Hire me.
Give me a background in a train, and I can keyframe it because that's as good as that looked.
honestly, I like I said, why not just do the painted background stuff? That looked good.
Yeah, that would.
That's really up your alley there, Crimson. So.
So everyone's like all happy, and Philip comes out of his coma, and it's real nice.
Yeah.
And then there's like a little,
That's real nice.
Oh, you're here.
and then the oddities like all passed out in the bar.
I found that funny. they partied so hard.
And then it goes to PT getting Charity and his family back by going pretty much where it started, which is nice. The first scene of, well, not the first scene because you have the whole opening number.
The first scene of him and Charity,
But,
like together.
Yeah, from the beginning of like when he came to get Charity after from being the kid, it's pretty much parallel to that, which is also parallel in the scene connection of the daughters looking out the window, as I said earlier, rather than Charity.
We also skipped Philip and kissing.
Yes, they did
Finally.
kiss. He woke out of his coma and got kissed.
Comma. He woke up out of a coma. And
Did you guys believe that relationship? Did it fulfill
Yeah.
for you?
They
Yeah.
they get a lot of caveats for how much time they skipped. But for what we see on screen, I'm more sold on them being attracted to each other than their relationship.
yeah, I mean, it was rushed, but I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I'm with Sinister. I think it
screen development
fit
inside.
because what you see of them is he fancies her, he's not accepting of his parents seeing them, and then he pretty much tells his parents to screw off, informs her about that, and she's still unsure until he risks his life to save her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's fitting and fine.
Yeah.
And then we have PT and Charity at the beach again.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. The beginning as the end is the beginning.
Yeah. The end is
And
never the end. The end is never the end.
It's interesting what they did with the camera here. I don't know what it's got to be a lens choice, but the corners of the screen of what's being shown are slightly darker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also want to point out that they're still wearing the same colors that they did in the opening scene. With Charity with her scarf and him with his same colored suit, I believe.
Yes. I think that's right.
I think you're right.
I think that's right, yeah. And then they do a little bit of singing back and forth to each other of their own
So
songs.
they're really in love.
Mm-hmm.
More
Yeah.
proof that Charity's one of the most supportive wives I've ever seen on TV.
Honestly, Charity is a goddess and she deserves better. But I like her. She's a good character, good person.
Very good person.
And
True
then-
person, really.
We have Philip and PT pretty much agreeing on their partnership.
He needs some encouragement from everyone else though. Like don't start getting rational on us now, kind of thing.
Yeah,
True.
because Barnum didn't want to accept it.
Like he didn't want to risk it for all of them because he, as he said, he wants to be able to support them and stuff like that. He doesn't want to risk it all. But his partner, who has gone on a character arc here, about
Mhm.
wanting, freedom, realizes and wants to relish in this life a little bit more. So he offers to put up the money that they need.
And I'd like to point out they made a deal on nickel to the dime.
Yeah, nickel to the dime.
50-50.
50-50.
Call back to the bar.
And then they realize they need a tent.
Because they can't
Sad.
buy a
You know,
building.
They need cheap
They
real
can't,
estate.
yeah, they can't afford the building, so they got to get the real estate.
Which to me, it just looks like a beautiful shot.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what it is about it of the tent from outside. I think the snow adds to it, but it just looks great.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Graysons perform here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
Funny.
But
Well,
this
you know,
isn't the
James
X-Men
Gordon's here,
universe.
so
Yeah.
Universe, can't do that.
But yeah,
and then we have the final number of the Greatest Show again. I guess the reprise of it, but
yeah.
Yeah, we're back at the beginning where this is all revealed to be a dream sequence by Child Barnum.
The beginning is the end is the beginning. I really do like I do like the shot of the tent, like it's like a fiery glow in like a dark snowy night, like it's offering warmth and happiness. I do love that. I guess the way it looks, and I think the movie's done enough to justify the symbolism for that. So it was just a good shot. I liked it.
and we still get more CGI animals of
Yeah, a lot
elephants
more.
and lions, a couple horses.
Yep.
Couple snogs.
And this actually, I think it was in this sequence that actually makes me miss going to the circus, because I have gone to the circus a few times growing
I
up.
have never gone to the circus.
Really? That's
Yeah.
How about the rest
I
of
won
you?
a drawing contest to go get free tickets to.
I can't recall if I have or not.
I went
I've been to
to.
fairs, but that's not the same thing.
I've been to a couple like small like street side circuses, and then I've gone to the very big grand like Cirque du Soleil. I've done a fair few, so this is kind of where I got hit hard with nostalgia here, because I do miss going to the circus, and it is quite the experience for sure.
Lack of clowns in this though, even though they did
Yeah.
reference clowns.
Yeah. Clowns was not a big thing.
I guess another scene I liked here is the PT passing the torch.
Yeah.
The show
Yeah,
must
which-
go on.
I think it was nice because his focus is now on his family.
His focus is now on his family, and I think it completes the character arc for Philip, because Phillips was his apprentice essentially, and he
Mhm.
learned how to be, I guess, to enjoy the
Greatest
freedom.
Showman.
Yeah, enjoyed the freedom.
His overcompensated apprentice, as he said at the bar.
Yes.
And he rides in on a elephant.
Yeah, where'd the elephant go? Did they all ride the elephant?
Yeah.
Possibly. I don't know how they got back up onto it. But
Hannibal
I was
will
like,
be proud.
He's going to ride the elephant to their house. No, they're at some giant government-looking building or something.
I assumed that was the opera house where his kid was going to perform, so he just rode up on that, and then
the ballet
yeah,
recital.
and then he tied the elephant up with all the horses, and then
And then they come back and someone stole the elephant.
Yeah, like, what the hell? What is it? Why is there so much sense?
And then we have the
Maybe we should call
recital,
the
which
Batman.
I think it's nice that the recital is also snowing
Mhm.
as well. There's some fake snow, and then their other daughter is a tree.
I love that. That was my favorite
Tree
shot.
powers
It shows,
activate.
little feet. I thought for a second though that
The ignored daughter.
I thought that the girl that was a ballerina got demoted to being a tree, and so
That's
now
what I thought.
yeah, and so now she's happy because she's like, I get to be in the show, but nobody's mean to me.
Mhm.
And then
And
who
we end with a
sings
quote.
the song? Oh,
Yeah, well, yeah, he sings a little bit of the song, and then it cuts
everything you
to
ever want, everything you ever need, and it's all right in front of you.
Yeah.
Woo!
The noblest art is that of making others happy.
And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
But we made it through a
That was-
musical.
That was the end.
We did.
we did make it through a musical. Yes.
Anybody
Now-
have any final thoughts or any?
Well, before we go into some other things about this, I heard from Crimson that he's a bit on a time crunch. Crimson, do you think you have a bit of time to give your ratings before you have to go?
I'll do real quick here. So I'll go with my subjective first. As I stated in the beginning, I'm not the biggest fan of musicals, but this one was acceptable. It wasn't an annoying musical. The story was pretty fast-paced. I think they did a better job at the beginning with their pacing, but towards the end it fell apart to me, pacing-wise, and the lack of uniqueness to the characters. Like we've stated, the oddities were pretty much just one character.
All lumped together.
and
Yeah.
was the only really standout one, and even then, barely, to me. I liked Jackman's performance. I think everyone acted pretty well through this. CG was bad, but that would go more towards objectivity points. So I think subjectively, a 7's good. It's something I could see watching again if someone wanted to. Yeah, which is higher than I was expecting to give this going into it.
Yeah, fair enough.
A solid passing grade. And then objectively, as mentioned before, the CG was not good. The like background scenery shots, pretty much the only CG that really, I guess, withstood. Huh?
Passable. Yeah.
Yeah, it was passable. And I think they did a decent job with the time frame they were going for, with the aesthetics of everything, other than the music, which we pointed out. I'm going to probably knock some points down for them calling it biographical and it being not historically accurate remotely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be a nick on the ratings. I thought Zach Efron would be annoying, but he was pretty good in this role. And Zendaya was underutilized. So I think a 5 is pretty fair, because there is a through line through the story. It's not discombobulating. It's just not very fulfilling towards the end, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. I'll stick around for as long as I can. That could be 1 minute. That could be 10 for all I know. But
Okay.
I have a deadline of when someone enters the place. And I have to.
So we got a little bit of a jump then, because before ratings, I had some bonus questions to ask about this movie, and the first one is, what is your favorite song from the film? And
Is this for me?
Yeah.
yeah, let's go with Crimson.
Okay.
You're the one on the time crunch, so we'll start with you.
So,
Yeah, not me. I'm not
as I-
time crunch at all.
as I said, the last song at the bar was my least favorite. The lyrics were okay. They were passable. They're like positive vibes, I guess. Dig yourself out from the mud. Continue forward.
Mhm.
All that happy pappy stuff. The beat was good, but the singing was not. It was just generic, as stated. So bottom barrel. Top, I'd have to. It's tough. It's between. Not enough. Is that what it's called?
Never enough.
Never enough. It's tough between that and the Greatest Show song, because I really like the beginning of the Greatest Show song, but then it tampers off. But the Never Enough's pretty good as a whole. I'll say the Greatest Show song just because I think the beginning's unique enough. That was exhilarating, blood pumping.
Oh yeah,
Boom, boom.
definitely. I can agree with that.
So that one
With the
stood out
titles
more as a
popping up.
more of a unique song to me, because Never Enough, as I think Senator said, it's pretty reminiscent of modern music. So I think it was more of a safe song opposed to the Greatest Showman one at the beginning.
Gotcha. Crimson, choose who you want to popcorn to.
Sinister, our resident music guy.
Wow. Like I said at the beginning, I really didn't care for any of the songs particularly. Probably the closest I came was probably the first song of the opening tent scene, and then the Never Enough. But I only really liked Never Enough. How it worked as far as story-wise and setting up character traits and development stuff. Yeah, but like I said, this is definitely a post Hamilton kind of movie because they're using biographical content but updating the music, so it doesn't really fit, which is fine. Not against that. It's just not for me. I will say though, my biggest gripe is they set up a opera singer and don't have her sing opera, which is I think a missed opportunity.
Problematic.
It just doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but if hadn't have, historically, it wouldn't matter because she'd be an opera singer no matter what, and it was a big event in PT Barnum's life. But I'm like I don't see. I don't see why it couldn't work as an opera or still be great. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Apologies. Did you answer your least favorite?
Anything other than those.
Going to have to call it here,
Okay.
guys. I'll talk to you guys.
Get out of here
next time.
All right, Crimson.
Please.
See ya, Crimson.
Thanks for tagging along.
Yeah,
And then there were
anything,
3.
Anything other than I guess those 2 I didn't like
Okay.
at all. No.
Okay. Ryder.
My least favorite, I think, is just gonna be I think my least favorite's probably gonna be in terms of like what would have made this song great, but I was just disappointed because there wasn't much to support it. It's gonna be the Identity song for, I don't know the names of them, so brace yourselves for that. It's gonna be the Identity song for when the Oddities start singing their own song to the show themselves.
Oh, This Is Me.
This Is Me. It's a song that I would have wanted to be really, really good. The problem is it just felt too generic, and the character work just wasn't there to support the impact of it. And so I think that one's pretty much my least favorite because it's just, as a writer, I hate wasted potential, and that's I think pretty up there for me in terms of that. As for my favorite, I agree with Crimson. I do love the Greatest Show, especially the opening to the Greatest Show song. I think it's very unique. It's definitely very grabby. But overall, as in best executed song, I'm gonna have to go with the song in the bar between Barnum and
The Other Side.
yeah, I'm gonna go with The Other Side or Jenny's song.
Okay. Other Side or Never Enough.
Yeah. So Other Side or Never Enough are probably going to be my 2, just because I think one is a very, very character-driven conversation, and the other one is purely symbolic as to what Barnum is as a person. And I think both those songs are both really well executed, even if they are modernized. But yeah, that's all I got for that.
All right. I guess I'll go next. Well, I'll go with my least favorite, if it counts. My least favorite song is the Never Enough reprise one, where she's crying. That is a song, I think, listening to like the soundtrack just on its own, I'd skip. It not only is it like short, it's just not as impactful as the over the top one of
Mhm.
Never Enough. So if that counts, that would be my answer. If that doesn't count because it's a reprise, I guess I'd go with This Is Me. Yeah, I'd probably go with This Is Me as well, with what you said, Ryder. It just, to me, it's not very connecting.
Yeah.
At least to me. For my favorite, however, it's a bit difficult because I do like most of the songs in the movie. It's for visual connection to the song itself. My answer would be The Other Side, because the choreography with it in the bar is so nice and fitting. On its own, I still very much like it, but I think I prefer From Now On more, which is the one that Crimson dislikes. So I think that one's my favorite. It's very, to me, it's very moving and impactful.
It should be a very culminated feeling for that song. Like this, the idea that it's all led to this, and that the oddities have now shown up once again to support him, like they did in the beginning. I can agree with that it does evoke the I guess a feeling of completion almost.
Yeah. Well, that was my bonus questions. Being a musical, I just wanted to know the choices on the songs.
I will give I guess I'll give a little bit of an honorable mention to the bar song. It's probably the only other one that I liked. Forgot about that. But the Zac Efron.
Yeah. No, the other side, the choreography was just awesome in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess now we'll go on to ratings. Let's start with Sinister. Start with you.
Okay, this one was a little bit difficult for me just because I'm not. This movie wasn't really made for me. It's not my kind of movie. So a lot of the issues I have with it are just intrinsically for me. It doesn't really necessarily mean it was a bad movie, because it was, I think for the most part, with the exception of I think they could have done more with characters and probably a short runtime than it necessarily needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was well executed. I think it was properly done, and I can tell a lot of work went into it, and I can definitely see people enjoying this that aren't me. That being said, I think I'm gonna have to give this like a 4. Most I've already said most of the songs I didn't really care for, and didn't really kind of didn't even stick with me that much, with the exception of the ones that I've listed. And in a musical, that's kind of a big thing. So that's like 80, 75, 80% of the movie is going to be the music, and so I like the story that they did. I liked a lot of the aesthetics, but I think they kind of went a little bit too far into like kind of cleaning everything up and kind of rubbing the dirt off of it. I think it could have been a little bit less polished, and it might have had more of an impact on me. But that's just me. But yeah, so I'm giving it a 4.
All right. And with that, let's go to Ryder.
Well, I'm gonna start with my subjective. I do like musicals. They're very rare for me whenever I touch onto them. I've been getting into musicals a lot lately just because of the nature of where I have a toddler in the house who's like obsessed with musicals. So I've been getting a lot of experience in this field, especially in the last few months. So I personally really like the movie. I like the aesthetics. I like the visuals. It's all very neat most of the time. I think the CGI is a bit bloated, but that falls into objective. It was a fun ride, really. This movie, what it was. I don't hate it. it just as a musical, because of like, even I without really objectively assessing it, I just thought I didn't think the songs were distinctly unique enough from one another to, I guess, give me the enjoyment that I would normally want from a musical. So I will probably watch this movie again. If it's on television or something, it's definitely something I would definitely watch. So I think subjectively, I'm gonna give this a 6.5.
Okay.
Objectively, um, well, we've talked about. I guess I've talked about my gripes with it and the flaws that I see with it, with all of you. It's definitely got its problems. It would have benefited from fleshing out the oddities more, or at least picking out a few of them and fleshing them out more. I think I was about to say Burnham again. Barnum is a wonderfully realized character. Um, I think most members of the main cast are really well realized. In the journeys that they go on are very obvious. This movie gets caveats for a lot of time skipping, but it almost does it too much to where I feel like it feels like we're jump cutting to points of character development rather than seeing them develop. So like we've jump cut past like Philip Carlyle's relationship with Aunt Anne. It feels jump cut, even though there's a lot of caveats that we can given to the fact that we don't see them. We skip a lot of time. So the movie in the musical is very flawed in that sense, and I think as well the music, when I'm going to a musical, and I think this is, I don't know whether to call this objective or subjective. I think in a musical the songs need to be unique enough to stand up on their own. Nothing here was really an earworm for me outside of maybe Other Side. And I think that's a shame because I like the themes of this story. I think there's a lot of potential in them, but the movie doesn't execute them well enough to most of them well enough to earn, I guess, points for it. So I'm in agreement with Crimson. I think this is a solid 5 out of 10, objectively. So I'll pass this right back to you, Springs.
All right. As I mentioned earlier, this was the three of your guys' first time viewing, and this was my, oh God, I don't know,
And
10th?
time, yeah.
I'll say 10th, could be. I'll kind of agree. First time I watched this movie, I thought it was very middle ground. Just very eh. The more times I've watched it, the more it's grown on me. So I guess I'll start with subjective. I enjoy this movie, and I think a rule of thumb for a musical, which didn't seem to work with either of you two, but a rule of thumb for a musical is when you leave a musical, the songs should still be in your head. If you can't remember any of the songs, it was not a good musical. And for me, even on my first instance, I can believe, I did remember some of the songs, at least. I think the acting really gives a good portrayal throughout the movie. Nothing's off of that, which I think can really, make or break a movie. I think I found it entertaining that being a musical, that the score being used was hardly ever used at all. There was very little score at all, and it was just the musical numbers. I guess I don't know if the hammer thing counts as a score piece, but I guess it did because it didn't have any lyrics tied to it.
It was, that was a very organic noise, so I don't even know if I would call it a part of the score. It was just a sound effect like they made.
Yeah. That was something that still caught my attention that I liked. Unfortunately, that was the only time it was really used.
Mhm.
But still, overall, my subjective score, I give it as an 8. I do enjoy this musical compared to some other ones. I think one of the main things that makes it an 8 rather than, a 9 or 10 or in between is because it was very rushed and short. It should have been longer.
Mhm.
And with that being said, I'll go on to objective. I think the story of what's being told came across very well. I think the characters all stuck to themselves and were portrayed through their actors very well. I like the color choices and some aspects that they used. I think the songs all stuck well together. On the other end, I think the CGI was not good for 2017. I think the pacing was rushed. What else do I have to narc on this? I think,
Knock.
yeah, knock. Sorry. Thank you, Sinister. Knock on this. I think what Crimson said about Charity being very supportive is a bit too much. Just a little over the top. So that can knock it a bit. Yeah, just kind of knocking it down. But some of the cinematography in this, there's some shots that are really cool that stand out to me, and some choices that they did which really made me look. And also, it's no Edgar Wright, but the transitions do stand out in places in this movie.
Mhm.
So overall, I'm gonna give it a 7 for objective.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that is The Greatest Showman. We made it, guys.
We did it.
First musical in the
Don't-
bag.
And Crimson
One
didn't.
loss.
Damn. Crimson didn't make it. Damn. So close.
Ryder, something I found a little funny is how you said none of these songs were real earworms to you, but earlier when we did Mystery Incorporated, that song stuck with you.
I know. It's just tragedy. The thing about musicals is I like very purposeful music, and we'll find this, I guess, when we get to my choice later down the line, of the kind of music that will stick with me. It needs to accomplish more than just what's on screen. So the reason I like the other side is it's accomplishing character building, and it's also well choreographed, and it's got a good beat. But the important thing for me is it's accomplishing the character building along with the song. So for me, I think that, and also the song is unique enough on its own to kind of just hold itself. So like I said, that's the closest I think I can pick out for an earworm. So
Gotcha. Well, thank you for listening to this season 3, episode 1 episode of Cheap Seat Critics over The Greatest Showman.
yeah,
Yes.
and
If you're listening on,
yeah, and
Ryder, go ahead.
yeah, and if you're gonna follow us, we're on we're getting more and more. We got Google now. We're on Google. We're on Spotify, and we're on Amazon.
Well, time of this recording,
Yeah, well,
we are.
yeah. At the time of this recording, still wrapping them up though.
Yeah. But yeah, we're spreading, and hopefully you can assist us with that.
Venereal disease.
I wouldn't go that far. Spreading more like a fire, I guess.
Yes, like a fire.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the disease comment.
Neither did I. But that's why Sinister's here. I guess, as always, I've been a geeky writer.
I've been a character called Sinister Boy.
And I'm Sprinks.
And there was a Crimson, but he is no longer here. So,
Well,
yeah.
Alright, so we back
and
next.
and we'll
yeah, you'll see him in the next episode.
and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.
Bye.